Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here with week 28 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it is me, the LoneVaultWanderer.
My name's Noah. Recently, my ARC's tire iron was stolen. If anyone knows where it is, please contact me. But otherwise, yes.
And this week we have a highly requested guest.
Highly.
I'm supposed to follow that intro about the iron.
Yep.
Okay. I was going to go with "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," but now I feel like I didn't come prepared with a sort of a witty introduction. So I'm just going to stick with "Hi."
And who are you, voice?
Oh,
Yes.
am I supposed to tell them now? Okay.
I think it's PewDiePie. I don't know for sure though.
The similarities. Yeah. I go by the handle of Gopher. So.
Yeah, I think everyone just collectively shat their pants.
The
Right?
Gopher?
Did.
Are you a real gopher?
Am I a real Gopher?
It's actually a raccoon. That's a common
This is why I have a special keyboard. I am, in fact, a small rodent sat with little claws on a special keyboard so I can play.
Very tech-savvy rodent.
Brilliant.
There's going to be a GIF about that. There's already a few, but...
The Photoshops now. It'll be a tire iron and like a gopher and a keyboard or something. All right,
anyway.
let's jump in it.
Yeah, so we got timestamps down below if you, for some reason, want to skip around our podcast because you're
Like
mean
an
like
asshole?
that. Yeah, and each week we like to bring in a guest. You could be one of those guests. Just tweet at any of the handles with the hashtag #HamRadioTime with your answer to the following question. One, naturally, I always tailor towards our guests. What is your favorite Fallout mod? Yeah, see?
That's a good one.
I've been on a roll, haven't I? Like, I always find these, like, really good, well-tailored
Humble
questions.
brag, Matty.
Humble brag.
You know how much hate I'm going to get for the answer for this question, right?
What are you gonna say?
I don't
Don't answer it. I already know what you're about to say.
I don't-
Just don't do it.
mod.
I don't use mods.
You don't... What? I'm sorry?
All of my Fallout playing was done on console. So I have the
Oh,
game.
that's great. I'm sorry. You didn't warn me about this. I'm
Fucking amateur hour.
I'm sorry?
Leave the podcast.
You've put me in a chat room with...
Noah,
It might be catching. I'm going to have to go check I can still use a mouse.
Console is better
say
than
immersive
PC.
mod. Just say
No, I'm just
immersive
kidding.
mod, okay? You'll be fine.
What loan?
That
What
was
mod are
great.
you? What?
Say immersive
Oh
mod.
my god, dude.
I'm
Every
a really big
podcast.
fan of immersive farts. That's what it's called.
Oh, God, don't say that. There is going to be a mod called that now. If you say it, someone will build it. That is the general
It's
rule.
actually true. It's actually true. If you say
All right,
it,
well,
they'll
now that
build
I
it.
just lost 130 Twitter followers, why don't we jump in?
Immersive farts. It's going to be as inspired from the Ham Radio Podcast.
Feel free
Fallout
to
3,
promote that
Fallout
mod,
New
bro.
Vegas. I can almost see it now. Oh, God.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Anyway.
Let's dive into this Bethesda news roundup. We got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, mainly Fallout stuff. Now that I look at it a second time, I want to start off with this first piece of news because I want to hear Gopher's thoughts on this. A user by the name of ZeloT, creator of the Adaptive Combat Rifle mod, is currently at work on Fallout 4's first ever mod. Is a rail rifle mod, and it has customizable muzzles, barrels, and more. And he's planning on starting another weapon project as soon as this one is complete. How are you modding before the game's out? Like, I need someone to explain this to me, because that was the one question that Bethesda didn't ask.
Okay,
I have no idea.
right. Mods are a sort of a mix of things. You have these files called like plugins, and my guess is he's not making a plugin yet. Although, if we're guessing correctly, the plugins are probably going to be very similar to the Skyrim ones. So theoretically, you could come up with at least a basic idea of what you're going to have to make, so that when they finally release the GEC, or somebody else releases a tool that does something similar, which I think may happen, they can create that to get it into the game. But to actually create the model's separate. It's outside the plugin, comes as a resource. He's probably loaded up on his Blender, or is it
3ds Max, I think it was.
3ds
not
Max?
3ds Max, yeah, something like that.
One of those, and he's created the model. He's probably got NIF scope. He's got it all rigged, ready to go. He's got the animations. He's got the difficult bit done, or at least I'm guessing. He's getting it done. That part of it is he can do ages in advance, as long as he's got some idea of what the restrictions are, I think. Although I'm not an expert on 3D modeling, they can probably
I'm sure if the model's done, the restrictions, you like, let's say it's a poly number, like limit, I'm sure there's ways, it's a pretty quick fix, hopefully. One would hope.
Yeah.
I tried to watch a video on Millennia. Millennia creates an awesome gun mod for New Vegas, and I tried to watch his series on this is how you create a gun mod for New Vegas, and there was no way I was following along, but it was so interesting just to see the actual creation of the 3D model. So I have no idea how it goes down, but I can understand where you're coming from, Gopher.
I've tried modeling one time. Oh god.
Yeah, and it was for C28.
Yeah, it was for this game that was like a dream of Noah and mine to
we're not gonna go too deep into that.
It was so bad, but it was such a bad idea. And I started modeling a machete, and like one side looked good, and then you just flipped it over, and you're like, oh fuck, I gotta do this.
Forgot to make the mesh. You made it one-dimensional, so one side you could see, but when you turned it around, it was just gone.
So it was invisible.
Nice work.
Yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, first ever Fallout 4 mod already in development before the game's out. I don't know how you think of a mod idea before a game comes out, but
are you kidding me? What did I just tell you? If you can say it, the idea will be out there. There will
pretty much.
Yeah, fuck me, right?
I have a follow-on question to ask from that. I don't know if you have this question on, Matty, but this is directed at you, Gopher. How difficult is it to make mods for a game like Fallout or Skyrim without the GEC release? Because I know that with Witcher, mods were being created for that before the mod tools were even actually released to the public. So are we going to be seeing a similar thing with Fallout 4 in that mods are going to be created even when the GEC is not actually officially released?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
the way to actually look at it is to look at Skyrim, because we're pretty sure it's sort of an iteration of the Skyrim engine, which is similar to their previous ones. Skyrim had mods coming out before the creation kit. It had several mods. It had sword mods. It had visual mods, texture mods. There were a load of things that don't even need the GEC. There are a load of things that don't need it, but people will make tools that allow them to either edit existing plugins or create new ones. I can almost guarantee it. They won't be as powerful. I mean, for example, was it Test 5 Edit? I'm pretty sure that you could create plugins with that. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you could create them early on with that. I mean, you can still do that. You can still create plugins, override certain values, and I'm expecting something like that will come out before the GEC. So you will see these mods, but they won't be as powerful. The other thing to look for is the Fallout 4 script extender, or phase, as I believe it's going to be called. That's going to be a big one as well. So we're going to be waiting. You're going to see stages, I think. You're going to see the initial modding phase, which will be better than a lot of people think. They'll release GEC, and then things will step up, and then they'll release Fallout 4 script extender, and you're just going to see, at each stage, you're going to see a wave of mods. Bigger than Skyrim, I reckon, this time.
Awesome.
It's going to be interesting to see, though. I really can't wait, because I remember when we had Al on, he made a really good point that there's so many pre-war assets in Fallout 4 that you can see in the initial trailer and the gameplay and stuff. That's going to be interesting to see what people build, before the war and stuff with mods. I can't wait for that. That's what I'm anticipating most about modding personally, is to see the pre-war mods.
Here's what there's my prediction on this. The modding community has been 10 stages better each game. Fallout New Vegas they hit the ground so much better and so much faster than Fallout 3. Skyrim, they really were on a roll. I'm reckoning Fallout 4, they're all just ready. They're already making mods, as you've seen.
Yeah.
They're all going to be competing. They all want to be the first. They all want to be, up there on, and it's going to be. I reckon anyway. It's going to be it's going to be too many mods to cover, which is a great problem. It's
going to be oversaturated.
That's an amazing problem to have.
A little while to like a week to filter, and then you'll start to see the ones that are actually not going to crash your game.
Yeah, the ones that bubble to the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, there's going to be an announcement. Someone's probably going to announce it immediately. Fallout 3 remade on Fallout 4 engine.
Well, they already did that with the trailer for Fallout 4. I mean, things like that have happened. They remade the trailer in Fallout 3. They also did it in Minecraft. I mean, people are just nutters in this community, but it's awesome to see all of these creations. So, yeah.
I agree. Our next bit of news is... it's bittersweet, in my opinion, because the Fallout 4 Pip Box was revealed, but it's available only through giveaway on Twitter. But I kind of wanted to focus on with this, though, is that it's another Microsoft-Bethesda partnership showing its face again, kind of, sort of here. I mean, it's not really... I'm not surprised. You look back at what they did for them when Morrowind was coming out. I'm not surprised that this partnership still exists. But people are wondering now if this is going to carry over into DLC, because... They keep partnering up. They keep working together. Skyrim's DLC came first to Microsoft, or Xbox 360 rather. People are wondering.
The Pip Box. You said. I'm googling it and I'm not seeing it.
Go on the Fallout Twitter and look at that because they posted a picture. It's beautiful, man. I wish they were selling it. I really do. I would probably trade in my Xbox One. I'm not even kidding. It's great.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not your new PC though. Just the not the 980 Ti.
Oh, okay.
Okay, man.
All right, guys.
Yes.
Well, I might actually be buying a console for the first time ever. I may be buying.
Gopher.
Stop it right now.
I'm the only one who doesn't mind consoles, and I have an expensive PC.
What's funny? I don't mind them either.
Well, no, I'm having to buy one though. I have to buy an Xbox and I have to buy a PS4 because there'll be mods. And the question everyone's going to be asking is, does it work on Xbox?
Yeah,
how does it? Is exactly. I'm going to have to test this. So I'm going to have to buy Fallout 4 3 times.
I already did that.
I bought on my Xbox, my PC.
Mind you, if it looks like that, I might actually. That's just kind of cool. If I can get that version of it, that's kind of cool.
I wish they sold it. You could retweet it and submit yourself for a giveaway with the other 40,000 fucking people in there. But I retweeted anyways with a false glimpse of hope. Like maybe they'll just pick me. Who knows? It's that Matty guy. Fuck him.
Matty, they don't hate you.
I know.
They do.
I'm kidding.
But to address the question, this partnership between Bethesda and Microsoft has been interesting. As we've said, it's gone back to Fallout 3 days. I believe it's gone back to even Oblivion days. I'm not too sure on that. But, DLC came before PlayStation. Obviously, mods are coming before PlayStation, but I think that's more of a thing to do with Microsoft's more willing to experiment with mods on the console. Sony might be a bit more closed platform in that sense. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's going to be translating to the DLC. I could very well see that. I think Microsoft is trying to push the fact that we want to be the main console in the market. Sony's doing all of these things with Call of Duty and the PlayStation 4, so this could be a way to combat that.
Yeah, I mean
the connection between Microsoft and Fallout 3. I mean, wasn't Fallout 3 actually a Microsoft Live game when it came out?
It was, yeah. And now there are now mods to get rid of that connectivity.
Well, the easiest way to do it is to use Fallout Script Extender because
that's what I do. Yeah,
disconnected it from it. But yeah, as long as they don't make exclusive DLC, I'm all right. I'd rather they didn't have those timed exclusives either. Mm-hmm. That was annoying. Yeah. That is, I think things like that generally don't go down well. Here's the thing. We've had a couple of years of this kind of crap coming from companies. 2014 was the worst year for gaming.
I agree.
Yeah.
It was the worst year pretty much in general.
Especially when you look at this year, I think 2014 was such an embarrassment.
Right. But do you not think this year something seems to have broken? It's like we're still getting some of these crap fests like Batman Arkham Knight,
being taken completely off Steam. Like
the new Deus Ex pre-order thing.
Oh my god!
Oh, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but to counterpoint it, look at the way they released Witcher, and then also Fallout 4. I mean, they've they've got a pre-order for this, but you don't get extra missions, you don't get stuff. You get, as Francis calls it, plastic crap. And if you love plastic crap, pre-order. If you don't need the plastic crap, you don't need to pre-order. And I think that's perfect. I think it's, and I think this year has shown two different mentalities. One is business as usual. Let's try and, drag all the money out of our customers. And no, let's go back to the old model of make a good game and see if it sells.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, are Bethesda looking at this because they've done everything right so far and thinking, let's avoid that timed exclusive thing because it will cause hate. I mean, and they've already had enough hate in recent time with the whole pay for mods thing, so they probably want to keep their heads down. If I were them, but then I don't want timed exclusives, so slightly biased, I guess.
Yeah. That paid mods thing has been so subtly swept under the rug. No
I'm
one
so
really
because it hasn't been really talked much about.
Yeah, they just let it go. They're like, no, we're not going to do this.
Well, no, but
that's a thing, yeah.
respect for them for doing that. They sort of said, okay, fine. That you don't want that. Let's never talk about that again.
Exactly. They didn't do an EA and was like, oh, you don't like it. Sorry.
Fuck you, right? All right, here we go. We're gonna bring it back in a new way with a different name, but it's gonna be the same fucking thing.
Oh,
so that's the thing. Like people were so willing to actually, accept Bethesda's apology for it because they're not a repeat offender. If this happened from a Ubisoft or an EA, people would be like, oh, it's just Ubisoft or EA being them again. But then with Bethesda, they're like, all right, you've made this mistake. We'll forgive you, Almighty God Howard, but let's not let it happen again.
Of course, everyone's sort of wondering, are they going to bring it back at a later date? And there's, a lot of very, very sort of skeptical people. And, my opinion is they might bring it back in some form, but I doubt they will bring it back in a form like it was. My guess is they will probably try and be more in touch with the community. And they may just decide, look, it just wasn't worth it. It isn't worth it. There's no win scenario for us, so let's not even bother.
I think the only way it could work if the split between creators and Valve and Bethesda was a bit more proportionate. I think the creators should, in all instances, get paid more than 50% at the very least. People were so upset with the fact that creators were getting paid less than Bethesda. Now, obviously, Bethesda will be releasing the modding tools and creating this platform for, the actual payment of mods. But the fact that the creators were still getting paid less than Bethesda, and I believe
Steam was
less
making
than
the most,
Valve.
right? Oh
No,
Bethesda
Bethesda was. Bethesda was 40%.
But only just. Bethesda
sorry.
and Steam split was pretty close. But
okay.
I think it's going to need more than the split. I agree the split's one thing that had to change, but I think there's so much more that needs to go into it.
Right.
And honestly, I think it needs, what do they call it when either Steam or Bethesda? Curation. It needs curating.
Yes.
It needs curating, and I don't think Bethesda want to get into the curating game. And if they do, if they bring it back, it'll be on a different scale because they will curate it, but it will be. I can see pay for DLC working if it's DLC that's massive packs of content. Almost like third-party expansion packs. So or some really big mod, a mod that really is sort of worth the money, and Bethesda can get behind it and say, okay, yes, you can sell that as a mod. But even then, they might just think that's just too much hassle.
And not paying $11 for Wet and Cold. I think in Australia it was $11 for that mod, and I'm thinking, I've just gone from getting this mod for free and now having to pay $11.
Right.
I thought that was a bit extravagant in terms of the prices being charged.
I loved Wet and Cold. I did. I thought it was a brilliant mod. But as you say, $11, or even to be honest, even a few dollars, you have to be asking, how much is it worth, and does it add any value when I'm getting it over Steam? And that, I think, is the mistake they made. They didn't add any value to the process. I came up with several ideas, including for Wet and Cold. Imagine if the Wet and Cold mod maker had got together with Chesco and several other modders who do a lot of the immersion weather mods, the camping survival mods, loads of these mods, big mods, all of which may need compatibility patches, and they bring them together as one sort of super mod, already compatible, You just click on it and it downloads this one super mod, which could be like 10 big mods all in one, and you charge $5 for that. Now, people can still get the original content for free and do it all manually if they want and do all their patches and so on. Or they can just click on and support the mod authors and have the convenience of that one-click install. Suddenly you're adding value. But, of course, there are downsides to even that, which we could be talking about for forever, actually. So,
Forever,
yeah. Here's the thing. They just did not think that through. It felt like they spoke to nobody. They
were just like, hey, let's do it. Like they got up from the break room.
But apparently it's not true. Apparently they spoke to a few mod authors, at least Steam did, and some people in the mod community, and they were told. They were told certain things that they chose to ignore. And a lot of the people who gave them feedback and who agreed to release mods on this system were horrified at how bad it was handled. So,
I mean, I think I read a post about this. The creator of the Nexus, he had some awesome ideas. And you'd think if you want to create a pay for mod system, he's probably one of the first people you'd want to be talking to because he's been doing this for years now.
Right.
He understands the community. He understands why there is a donation-only system. None of the revenue that he sees, comes from that. So
absolutely,
he should have been talked to.
Right. I mean, but that's it. You get the feeling that, I feel that the more of the blame was towards the Steam side. I feel Steam were the ones who were more active in building this system. But then that's just a feeling. I don't have any information on that. It's just a feeling. But just judging by the way it was rolled out, it felt more Steam than it felt Bethesda to me.
Well, it adopted the very
Bethesda's
similar
very
model.
in sync with their fans, where they kind of talk it through like in a relationship standpoint. Where I'm not saying Valve's a bad company, but I could see Steam necessarily kind of putting it out there and kind of taking it from the way they treat their viewers, where they kind of expect them to deal with it in a sense. Not
right.
In a bad
way. It was almost like, well, this works for TF2 and other games
CSGO.
and Portal. CSGO. Why isn't it going to work for this new game that has completely different modding requirements and a totally and utterly standalone community who are really passionate about what they do? Why would they object to totally converting everything to the way we do?
I honestly don't see what the issue is at this point.
Yeah.
I also think they rolled it out at the wrong time. They kind of did it on an already 4-year strong active community where I think like if they rolled it out, I'm not saying I'd be all for it, but
if the game came out with the paid mods, then you wouldn't already have people who had mods where they were free and now are like, why? Wait, this is charged now?
But if they'd have done it on Fallout 4, that's already a franchise that's now got mods. So it can't be that. It can't be an existing franchise. It's got to be a new IP.
And you're absolutely right. But it's I don't
know. It seems like one of those you can't really win. You can't get everyone to agree with you on that type of situation. Back to the DLC aspect of things. One point I wanted to make up. I realized we went off
sidetrack. Did we sidetrack?
Back
to the DLC thing, though, what we were talking about. I was also thinking that it'd probably be not a smart idea to make it exclusive again, because you look at Skyrim on the PlayStation. Okay, you don't want a repeat of that. Like that was like, it was bad enough that PlayStation was getting the DLC later, like we all knew. But then they got it, I think they got Dawnguard about a year later or so. Like, they could not get this DLC to work on PlayStation 3. I don't think that'll be a repeat issue because PlayStation 4 is easier to develop for. But it's just, I feel like a matter of consideration.
Aren't the new consoles closer to PC architecture or something?
Yeah, that's what I heard. So it shouldn't be an issue, but I'm just saying, like, I guess looking in the past, you think, that might be something that even though it'll probably not happen, you might want to try to avoid it at least. Not split it up. They haven't, like you said, Gopher, they haven't split anything else up, just the plastic crap. So it's like, why not just keep it that way?
Yeah, sell a game, sell it as a one thing. I don't mind collector's editions that come with your plastic crap or, your nuke edition.
Did you get a Pip-Boy edition?
Nope.
Wow.
I live in the most expensive country in the world to live in, or at least city in the world to live in. Space is a premium here. It really is. So a space for anything I buy is probably more expensive than the thing I buy. So I generally avoid. I love digital download, so I don't have to put things
I hate it.
anywhere. So
Now
maybe
I
if
want to know
I
where you live without seeming incredibly creepy, but you don't have to say because I know you probably
well,
won't.
everyone knows I live in Oslo, Norway.
Oh, okay.
So but yeah, I mean that's actually on my YouTube channel.
I was
think.
thinking Dubai, but no, I'm just kidding.
No,
no, that's
it's
definitely
Oslo.
not Dubai.
And I may move to a house, and maybe I will have a special room with shelves and plastic crap I can put on them. But until then,
Remember,
it's
Gopher, the Pip-Boy edition goes on your wrist, and you sleep in it, and you don't ever take it off. The Pip-Boy can't come off.
yeah.
No, it's on forever.
If I buy it, I can almost guarantee my son will want it. And he will end up using it all the bloody time instead of me. So.
The little Vault Wanderer. Yeah.
Well, is he 10 years old? Then that would work because he gets
No.
his first Pip-Boy.
Oh my god.
It's all lining up so perfectly.
I'm sorry, I'm a law fanatic. Sorry, continue.
No, he's only 4, but he's the size of a 6-year-old, and has already specialised in melee and has weapon shout ability. So.
How did he go in the goat Gopher? I have to.
I was gonna say, did he kill rad roaches with a BB gun?
No, he's a pleasant little lad. He's a charming little lad, but he is energetic and a handful. A handful is
sounds like me when I was 6. Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
4.
We're all such nerds. Anyway.
4 is close enough to 10. I don't see the issue, honestly. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, let's go ahead.
We're gonna jump around. We got some more Fallout stuff to cover, but we're gonna switch over to 2 pieces of Dishonored news we have because Bethesda roundup. Yes, let's switch it up. Yeah, the second piece is exciting, but the first one, let's just fucking get it out of the way. Dishonored Definitive Edition released last week. The reviews claim it's a fine upscaling, adds nothing new. We got 8s across the board. Now, what's interesting, though, is I remember, what's his name? Shinobi602 or something like that. He posted a video, and it was Dishonored Definitive Edition running on, like, an Xbox One or a PS4. And it was, like, 30 frames. It was, like, lagging all over the place. Like, it was really bad. And I thought, like, that's what happened, and that's why they didn't
was that pre,
I think it was, like, a pre-patch or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was pretty bad.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just figured we might as well tack on that. We've talked about Dishonored Definitive Edition enough, I think. I'm glad they kept quiet about it. I'm glad it worked out, but whatever.
Kind of useless, but no, I mean, cool.
Next bit of news for the Dishonored 2 trailer is I was surfing Bethesda Net and I found this that they uploaded a video and it was Harvey Smith discussing the, and I say this in quote, secrets of the Dishonored 2 trailer. And he said, much like the first Dishonored trailer, it's not just a a cinematic trailer like a lot of these are. He said everything you see, you can do. So a lot of times in the initial Dishonored trailer, I don't know if you remember it, when he's like sprinting across the buildings and stuff. That's a concept that was realized. The blinking, that was realized. The aerial assassination when he drops down on the balcony, that was another thing he realized. They said that everything you see in this reveal you can do, and like the area that you see is an actual area. I don't know if you remember Sokolov, but the person who was in the desk chair in that building that she ran into, that apparently was one of Sokolov's students.
Interesting.
Yeah. What else was there? I'm trying to think. They said the enemy you see, those like Sentials or whatever, they have like the cone faces. They say that they have eyes, they have like the same thing on the other side, so that they have a 360-degree view, so it makes stealth harder. So it's really interesting.
This game sounds awesome.
I'm
so excited. I just want to play as Emily. I really want to play as Emily. She looks badass, like really badass.
You're just saying that because she's a girl and you want to make.
No, I'm saying that
happy. You just want to say
she
that
has
so
this
when you
like
start
fucking
teasing this
grappling
happy.
hook.
I'm just kidding.
No, she has this like grappling hook. It's not the blink. It's something different.
It's like
which I think.
Do you remember when she entered the building, that like black thing that came out of her hand that like almost looked like something out of Prototype and like brought her in? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, like they said like that's in the game and stuff. So I'm guessing that's how she's gonna travel around. And since it's gonna be obviously like a next gen focused game, I imagine like rooftops will be bigger and like bigger stretches, so that you'll have to use that to like latch onto the top and stuff. It'll be really cool. I really want to see gameplay for this game. And when is it coming out? They said like spring next year. So like When do you think
So
they're going to
it's sufficient enough time after Fallout 4 that we can actually play it.
Yeah. I'm just wondering.
So 2018 then.
Yeah.
Until the next
Sorry.
Bethesda Game Studios game. When the rumor mill turns up for that one. Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm liking Dishonored because I think for the first part of the game, they make you play as Emily, and it's not just because she's a female. It's because it's a different character. It makes sense in terms of the story. You know, after all, it was big spoiler alert. Has anyone not played Dishonored here? This is in the first scene. You know, it was Emily's mother that was killed. So in terms of the lore, she's more vengeful than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
It was her direct family that was affected. So if this story is going to continue in that way, it makes sense to be able to play as Emily. It makes sense for Corvo to train Emily up to become an assassin. And it also makes sense for her to have different skills. And that's what I'm excited for the most. The fact that we're not just playing it as Corvo again, with the same skill sets with Blink, etc.
Yeah.
The fact that she's going to be a different character and we can experience her perspective of the world as this vengeful and girl that wants to take revenge on whoever was against her family and killed her mother, even though that person is obvious. I'm not going to spoil the game, but I would love to see the storyline progress from her perspective.
I just wonder how it's gonna be, because it sounds like it's more advantageous from a story perspective at least to play as Emily. I just wonder what it's gonna be like.
Yeah.
They said you can play as Corvo as well. I wonder what it's gonna be like. Are you just gonna kind of be this assassin like Corvo? This familiarity, is that gonna work? What's he going to play into this story? Because obviously it sounds like Emily would be more revenge driven, whereas Corvo, it's like, is he just tagging along for the ride?
Is there anyone still alive or left that she wants to take revenge on?
That's what I was thinking. I mean,
it depends on how you ended the first one, I suppose.
Exactly.
But even
I'd imagine good canon or good choices were canon. Like non-lethal. But I doubt that. Well, I mean, what game doesn't do good? Actually, I'll probably be proven wrong when I say that, but I can't think.
Metro 2033 is the
Metro.
answer to the question you're about to ask.
Now that you mention it, yep. All right.
Metro 2033's canon ending is the bad ending.
Yep. Now that you mention it, and yep.
I love that game.
That was what a great fucking series, dude.
Metro. The thing about the
I
Metro
haven't played
that
Last Light. Don't talk about it.
I
please.
hate-
What?
Oh, really? Right, no
Wow.
spoilers for this man. Because
Yeah.
Here's one thing about Metro, though, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but 2033 was such an underrated game for so long. Like,
Yeah.
no one knew about
I
this
agree.
game. And then Last Light came out, and then they were like, oh, yeah, like no one, yeah.
You got me into playing 2033, and then I couldn't
I played
finish it because
2033
I felt...
before Last Light came out.
Yeah, it
I
felt
saw
so
A.T.L.
clunky,
Fisher
though.
playing it.
And I remember the redux of it,
Redux.
whatever. They like fixed Metro 2033 completely.
They did it in Last Light's engine.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And it was like, that was the one game I thought this needs to be redone, because on the 360 when I played it back in the console days,
the console days.
yeah, I couldn't play it. It was so clunky. It was so slow. Like the frames dropped. It's not like I don't get turned off by usually like technical hitches like that. I usually try to
Especially
push
back
through.
then. Too.
Yeah, definitely back then when like literally,
A
Metro
whole like,
2033
5
though.
years ago.
yeah, I swear.
Yeah, even on a really top end PC 3 or 4 years later, you had to do quite a lot of work to make it so it didn't stutter in certain places. It was not.
Yeah.
I got it running very, very smoothly, but I played it years after on a top end rig, and I still had to tweak a few things to get rid of some stutters. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Even I had some problems with the Redux version, but that was before I got my GTX 970.
I wanted to just to sort of take you back to your Bethesda Dishonored thing. Sorry to re-distract you from the distraction. I wanted to add something on the Dishonored, because one of the things that I'm hoping for in Dishonored 2 is that it is harder than Dishonored 1. My really only disappointment in Dishonored was how monumentally easy the game was if you used powers. I did a first playthrough on the toughest difficulty, and then I set myself a challenge to actually play through the game on the toughest difficulty without using any powers except during the dream sequence tutorial. Now, it's not actually possible. There are 2 places where you have to use Blink to get out of a trap. But apart from that, you can play the entire game, and it's not that difficult as a stealth game. without powers. With powers, I felt it was just too damned easy, especially with the power to see through walls and
dark
see
vision.
opponents.
There were definitely OP things.
Well,
There
even
was-
like the power to take the life of a rat, and then you could just sneak past enemies. That was I took advantage of that too many times. Like, on the bridge scene, in particular, I was like, "Fuck, how am I gonna get past these guys?" And I just became a rat, and I felt kind of cheap by doing that.
I think it's very cool. It felt very cool. It was especially, you know, it was a sort of a new thing, wasn't it? They had a new style. It wasn't steampunk, but it was this kind of, you know, electro.
It was like an industrial, revolutionary steampunk kind of thing.
Well, but I mean, it had its own style. I don't know what the style's actually called. There's probably a name for the style.
Yeah.
It's not steampunk, but it's one of those type of things.
Yeah,
And
Reminds me of
it also-
Bioshock, like its artistic style.
Yes.
That's what
Like
I
Yeah.
it's like a geary kind of.
Let's talk about Bioshock.
And it had these beautiful abilities that were really interesting and had, you know, a lot of potential to be fascinating, but they very quickly became crutches you could just abuse all the way through. And there didn't seem to be a downside to it, like the dark vision. There was no downside to dark vision that I could see. You could pretty much keep checking it, as long as you didn't use the full amount, so you ran out of power and had to refresh it. You could just if I remember rightly, you could use it for a certain amount and then it would regenerate the bubble back.
Yeah.
Am I remembering correctly?
There's a blue. I'm not sure if it was for the dark vision. Yeah, no, you were right, because
it's the blue
what it would
bar.
do is it would take out a chunk of the magic bar, whatever, I forgot what it was exactly called. But if you didn't use another power instantly, it would just recharge back up. Like you said.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't balanced very, very well, and it just became too easy. So I'm hoping in Dishonored 2 they somehow managed to balance it so that they keep the challenge going, because I did like that game. I enjoyed even
it.
without the powers. Actually, it's a bloody fun game to play as a pure stealth game.
I did a ghost playthrough, or not ghost, I guess, because I had to choke people out. I did a non-lethal playthrough though. I guess it's up to, that's kind of what the game always boasted too, is I guess it's up to player creativity. You know, you could do what you did, no powers. I went around and only choked people out, didn't want anyone to see me. I guess that's part of it, and I guess that's why sometimes if you abuse those powers, it can be considered too easy. But I agree that they could bump up the difficulty, or they should rather.
I reckon most games nowadays should try and incorporate a hardcore or incredibly hard mode.
Yeah.
You know, which kind of transcends the typical easy.
It's
normal,
exponentially
very
hard mode.
You know what
Yeah,
game
yeah,
does that well?
Very difficult.
Metro.
No, shut up, Matt. I know what you're gonna say. And if it's not what you're
What's he gonna say?
Metro does.
What am-
Metro.
what am I?
I think he's gonna say Borderlands. But if he's not,
I'm
let
not.
me.
I thought he was going to
explain-
say something Star Wars related.
Shut up! If he doesn't say Borderlands. The reason Borderlands does very good hard is because it doesn't have a starting out difficulty level, but the new game plus exponentially changes everything, which is why I think Borderlands hard mode in air quotes is fucking fantastic.
Well, I agree.
The only
Yeah.
problem with
That's
it
a
is
better
you have
one
to
than
go
I
through-
was thinking.
You have to go through the previous versions. If you could play Borderlands on Ultimate Vault Hunter mode the instant you started playing, I'd be a lot
Get
happier.
destroyed. No.
No. I disagree. I loved. I'm a hardcore Borderlands player.
As are Matt and I. Do not trigger me, Gopher. No.
You know,
Threatening our guests now.
I'm like seriously. I think on at least on Borderlands 2, the Borderlands pre-sequel, I only did 1.5 or.
I didn't even finish one, and this is coming from a
But
diehard.
Borderlands-
Pre-sequel we didn't like very much.
I've done every single character to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode except Gage, who I just never got into. But I did all the other characters, and the Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, as far as I'm concerned, is the way it should be played from the bloody start. And what they should do is they should remove the damned level caps. They should let you start Ultimate Vault Hunter mode and go from level 1 to level 70, experiencing the entire story with all the DLC. You know, I mean, you can have the level cap at 50, but don't stop it at 30 on my first playthrough and then force me to play the character again to get to level 50 and then play again to get
That's
to
a
level
good point. Yeah.
Because you play the same damned story with the same damned character 3 damn times.
Right.
And you know there's enough content. I mean, you've got to give Borderlands It has enough content. If you get all the DLC,
we get Borderlands 2's DLC. Holy shit!
yeah.
Oh my
And
god!
From level
One
1
had a
to
fuck
level
ton.
70, you could go from level 1 to level 70 in a single playthrough, I think, if they scaled it correctly, and have an epic time with one character, and then do the same thing for every character, which is 7 times through on Borderlands 2, is it, or something? I don't know, but it's a few times. And I don't know what the obsession is with making us do it 3 times through per character. Really was that's my bugbear with it. That's my bugbear with it. Ultimate Vault Hunter mode unlocked straight away. Thank you very much. I'll take the risk. Bring it on.
Take the risk.
Definitely.
You're a level 1 fighting like level 18. You know.
No.
First
I don't mean that. I mean, you know, the step up between, say, true Vault Hunter mode and normal Vault Hunter mode wasn't level, because you end a normal mode fighting level 30s and 32s.
Right.
You start True Vault Hunter fighting level 30s and 32s, but it's the fact that they all have armor now and more health. Start Ultimate Vault Hunter mode from level 1, but with the same toughness, the same requirement to use. Oh God, what was the purple stuff called? I can't even forget. I can't remember.
Not Iridium. Is it Iridium?
God, no.
Yeah, it was Iridium, wasn't it?
No,
The
it's
purple stuff?
begins with S. The purple.
S Iridium.
No, God. The elemental types in Borderlands. I can't believe this. I played this thing so many times.
Matt and I are both used.
Yeah, I'm trying to think right now.
I don't know.
I know
thought
like
it
the
was
gun
Iridium.
makes and shit. Like, oh god.
Oh God.
I thought it was Iridium.
No, it's from Iridium, but it's got it. We've got you've got incendiary, corrosive, shock, explosive, and
slag.
slag. Thank you.
Wow.
You know, when
I got so intense, man.
when you play an Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, you have to use slag. You have to slag them and then damage them. You have to use your abilities well. I don't mean they should start off at level 18 enemies or level 30 enemies. I mean they should have the level 1 enemies requiring you to use your abilities, use slag, whatever. Just generally
You have to think to play the game.
You have to think, you have to do. Whereas, let's face it, Borderlands on the normal mode, you press the forward arrow key and the left mouse button and run in a straight line at everything, and they all die. Occasionally spam some random ability. So, yeah, all right. Okay, I'm ranting a little about Borderlands.
I just thought of something though. And Matt, when I come out in New York, I'm gonna say this live on the podcast.
Oh, boy.
When I'm out in New York for Christmas, you and I are gonna do we're gonna find a way to do it, but we'll do it. We're gonna do a Borderlands 1 playthrough.
Borderlands on.
Yeah, we may have to do it split screen, but we're gonna do it.
Oh, I hate split screen.
I was about to say no. You lost my interest there.
No. Nope.
I was gonna say play the.
Why do you have to do a split screen?
Or we don't even have to do
be
it.
in New York?
We could just play it on like a 12-hour stream, and we both just switch in. You know, play one character and then switch in. Like you play for a shift, I'll play.
Because you can 4-man that, can't you? It's still a 4-man.
All right, all 4 of us. That's what we're gonna do instead.
Yeah, sure.
We've just
Bring you guys into our plans.
I get to be
now.
Brick. I want to be Brick.
I
Brick's
just want to be the Mordecai.
female.
Mordecai's cool, but Brick.
Fuck you.
punching things.
Mordecai's better than Brick.
I'm not saying this in a sexist way, but Borderlands is the only game I always play the female as. Like,
He was
sirens are
I was at a
so
sexist thing.
well, I'm saying because like I always play as male and try to model my characters
Oh.
after myself usually. But
Yeah.
in Borderlands, I always have played as the female. I always
I don't know.
love.
Siren in Borderlands 1, that running ability was
yeah.
insane. Insanely powerful.
And she,
And
I think-
Mordecai. So
I think all of the characters in Borderlands and Borderlands 2 are really fascinating. They're all fun to play, especially once you get to sort of the mid levels, 25 and above. They start getting fast. They get very, very different. You know, they start the first 10 levels.
I remember Maddie and I were talking about this. I played as Mordecai in Borderlands 1. Noah, apparently you did too. And then in
Mordecai,
Borderlands 2, that one scene, spoiler alert.
Yeah,
we're
Mordecai's
trying to
good
save
stuff
the
gets
world.
rippy dippy.
Borderlands gets surprisingly emotional. You're like, I usually laugh at this.
I
game.
was sad too
Same,
because
yeah.
like Borderlands 1 was such an not emotional game, but like it was a big game for me.
Yeah.
And it was just we
You
played
grew
it.
attached
Matt and
to
I
the
played it
blood.
so many times. Matt and I played it like 3 times through, and to have I don't want to spoil it, but what happened to Bloodwing happened. It was kind of just like.
We've said spoiler alert. Let's talk about it because that fucking ripped.
We have so much more news to talk about.
sorry.
He's right though. He's Borderlands 2 is one of those games that, for all of its in-your-face silliness, was quite emotional. I mean, I'm thinking of the end scene in Tiny Tina's dungeon. Tiny Tina's
Keep?
Dungeon Keep, Dragon Keep, Assault on Dragon Keep.
Yeah.
The end scene to that DLC was really quite touching. They actually managed to make silly quite touching. Yeah, quite emotional.
Anyways, we can move on, Matty.
Oh my god, we still have so much more. Because I know this is, with the way we're going right now, these are all things we can discuss. I saved the best for last, so whatever, fuck it, man.
All right, go on.
So next is, going back to Fallout now. Fallout 4, perk trees are going to have their own separate XP meters, and when those level up, that's how you rank up your perks. A lot of people thought this is how it would work, where you level up in Fallout 4, you get a perk point, you buy a perk, whatever, and then when you level up again, you get another perk point, and you put that perk point into that same perk, for example. So I'd have Science 2 now, but now it's actually, you get it through general XP, whether you're killing or questing or whatever, and then when your perk levels up through that's how it goes up. So I thought this is an interesting difference that is going to be making a lot of deep characters, because now you can generally level up all these buffs, and who knows what the final level of each buff is. It's going to be, dude, I'm excited for Fallout 4's leveling system, and that was mainly thanks to your video, Gopher, when you were talking about it, and how skills, or how perks define your character really more in skills, it seemed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping for. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've always been a fan of Fallout, and I even quite like the Fallout character system, because it's a throwback. It's to the old way, and it's a lot of nostalgia for it. But it's about as. I mean, when people talk about, they're dumbing down the Fallout level character system, how you can't do that.
It's as basic as it gets. Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's massively basic, and it's very hard to make characters that are really differentiated. I mean, I said that in my video. I'm doing it on my current playthrough. I've got a level 30 character, and most of his skills are now maxed. There are a few exceptions. But by the time he gets to level 40, he will be good and superb at absolutely everything. He will be a world expert on nuclear physics, which is insane considering the character I'm using. And that's just because I wanted him to be good at hacking computers, or good at making chems, because he has a bit of a substance abuse problem.
Good old Jack.
So yeah, and I think there are plenty of ways they can improve it. Now, what you're saying is that's what they're actually doing. You'll take perks, and you will get better in that perk, which will make you better at whatever that perk gives you. For example, I mean, I haven't actually I'm paying some attention to this, but I'm also kind of wanting to leave it a little bit of a mystery. Have they revealed completely what it's going to be, or are we just... They
haven't put any videos out. We're going off the description of QuakeCon, along with now an interview from official Xbox Live magazine or whatever. Yeah. So you combine those two.
And there was also another interview with Pete Hines, and he's just saying, look, in general, we want players to be able to create their own unique character that is different to anybody else playing the game. They're really placing this emphasis on being able to create a character that is unique, and it does not, for example, if you put all your points at small guns, you're also good at pistols and also good at miniguns. Like, it's not going to be like that.
Good.
And hopefully, though, this doesn't mean that we're pigeonholed, like too much at least. But it did make sense, like in Fallout 3, if you played the game right, you could have all of your skills at 100 by the end of the game, which did not make sense.
Well, that's the good thing about them not putting a level cap in, is because it's natural with all the DLC that, 3 New Vegas, and Skyrim didn't have a cap, I don't think, but with 3 New Vegas, it was natural that with each DLC, your cap was raised by 5, so you can continue to level up, and they didn't think that far ahead, where by the time you had all these additional levels in, your character was just completely maxed out. I guess you could do that essentially in the base game as well, but I'm just saying that if you
took the right perks and things, and the right stats.
But now they kind of thought, I don't want to say thought ahead, but now by just fully saying screw the level cap, now it's like they kind of are letting you just go deeper and continue to build
Yeah.
your character. And I'm sure at some point it would make the most sense that if I'm like level 70 in Fallout 4, that I should have a ton of perks and stuff. But what's interesting and the way they limit it is through the special system. So it's like, because I don't know, maybe you can do the, I think the name of the perk is Intense Training, and then there's the bobbleheads. I think that's about all you can do to increase your special. But
Interesting.
That's
It's
all
funny
I
that you
can think
mentioned
of.
that.
What I want.
Because,
Okay.
sorry. In Fallout 3, there was actually a stage where if you tried to get all your skills to 100, but you fucked up somewhere, you could get to the level screen of death where you're actually stuck and you can't progress because there's a point where you have like 5 skill points to distribute, for example, but everything's at 100, so you have nowhere to distribute them, and your game is frozen. Like you're stuffed at that point. It's pretty scary.
There was a mod to fix that that allowed you to go over. But so what I want is the ability to have a character who's really good with pistols and revolvers, but not good with miniguns. Because I'm not saying that's what I'm going to play in Fallout 4, but I want to be able to have a character who's really a really good shot with, like Jack. My character Jack, for those of you who watch my Let's Play, he's good with rifles, shotguns, and pistols. That's what he does. That's what he uses. But just by sheer accident of the skill system, he also happens to be one of the world's experts on shooting a minigun, which is insane because he's never really ever shot one in his life. I want to be able to make a character who's focused like that. So without necessarily using mods. Because, of course, in Fallout 3, there were several overhaul mods that made it so you couldn't use miniguns without wearing power armor, for example, which I thought was a nice addition.
Nice touch. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Wanderer's Edition, I tried to pick up a mini nuke to actually fight the behemoth, and my gun was just swaying left and right. I'm thinking, what the fuck is happening? I can't use this gun.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned the behemoth. I'm going to jump in here. The behemoth in Fallout 4, you see, is, I don't know if you guys seen it. It's just kind of a little bit. It's like someone went into the engine editor, and like the scale size for the behemoth was 1, and they just went, or like the scale size for a super mutant was 1, so they changed it to like 1.2. Whereas the behemoth in like Fallout 3, scale size for a super mutant was like 1, behemoth was like 4. You know what I mean?
Absolutely massive.
It seems like it's like this like slightly larger. It's like, oh, come on, you know. I don't know.
They look pretty fucking big in Fallout 4, along with the Mirelurk Queen or whatever. Oh my god.
No, but what he's saying in the gameplay, like you look at the behemoth and it's almost human size. Like it does not have that sense of scale as the behemoths do in Fallout 3, for example. Like they're actually really small, which is a bit disappointing. That means though that there's going to be a grade above behemoth, which is like
a super behemoth.
Wait a minute,
super behemoth or something.
are you thinking of the behemoths in the vanilla Fallout 3 or with mods? Because I remember the behemoths in Fallout 3 as being a little smaller than when I started using mods. I used Mart's monster mod.
Does that increase the size? Oh shit!
Well, it adds whole new creature mutants as well. Ones that were literally the size of small buildings, and a slightly different color. It added a lot of variation as well. So you did get behemoths that were a little shorter than normal ones and a little taller. So I remember playing Fallout 3 with some of those mods and meeting creatures that were almost out of a B movie. So like literally, which is fine. It's Fallout. B movie monsters in Fallout. Pretty much expect it. Thank you very much.
Yep.
So.
I just love Mars Mutant Mod and seeing Wanamingos going through the wasteland.
I know,
It didn't make
I was watching
sense.
your video the other day and I saw that. I was like, Wanamingos, yeah!
Oh, God, those, yeah. Oh.
Bring those
They're so
things
awkward.
back, man. They're so cool.
I actually
The thing I didn't
disabled
like
those in Fallout 3. Those and geckos. They never felt right in
The geckos
Fallout
were
3.
so loud. They were so ridiculously
Oh,
loud.
yeah.
I never understood that.
Yes, they go creeping past you, and you thought there was some enormous monster going. You'd be like, "Where is it?" And you have to look down, and suddenly see this little thing. Yeah,
I've had a problem with geckos in Fallout 3. It's a conversation for another time. But I committed a massacre of geckos and all these critters. Do you remember that, Matty?
Yeah, I was there for that.
and lizards and stuff. Anyways,
Any
That was
any
fun.
final thoughts on the perk ranks at all?
No, I'm excited to see
No.
the changes, to be honest.
Yeah, for me, it's curiosity more than anything.
Absolutely.
Generally, I trust them to do a reasonable job, and if they don't, I'm sure the modders will make it better.
I mean, yeah, while we're actually giving some additional thoughts on it, the only thing I'm worried about is that I guess it'll be simplified in a sense. And by simplified, I don't mean the leveling system as a whole. I'm saying like, okay, bloody mess generally, you kill people in the messiest ways possible, but also increases your weapon damage by 5. I get bloody mess rank 2. Does it just increase my overall weapon damage by 10%? You know, like I don't expect them to do some dynamic giant change for each perk because that's just unrealistic. But I'm just saying, I hope it's not just for each perk, it's like percentage increases, you know what I'm saying?
It might be like percentage increases, and then you get to a certain particular rank within that perk, and you'll get
Like
another
the final
buff on top of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. You know, if it's like percentage increases, then I get to that final rank or whatever, and then it's like another, not like overpowered, but another additional buff to help be like, yes, I'm so happy I invested in this. That sounds great to me.
Or effect. I mean, like, you know, you take a perk and you get to a certain point, and then something new happens when you do that. You know, like you've got an energy weapon perk. You get to a certain point where you almost always turn them into goo when you shoot them. That type of thing.
That'd be great.
Anyway.
Next piece
Love
of
getting sidetracked.
I don't even know what to call this, but I just figure we'll talk about more plastic shit because, you know, our wallets. 30HK has revealed a Fallout power armor figure they're working on. They're the ones who made the
isn't it like hyper detailed too?
Yeah, and it's like it's by the same people who made like the Titanfall figures that were like a foot tall, and that's how tall this is gonna be.
I have no money. I don't have
know,
money
I'm
to
literally-
spend on this
yeah,
shit, man. Fuck.
No, honestly,
30K, you said what?
30HK, I think.
30.
It's the name of the company.
HK47, yeah. I'm just making a joke. Sorry, KOTOR joke.
You're such a loser, Matty.
Someone listening
seriously,
got that and is like, that's so good, man. Like,
You really punked Gopher, man. Wow.
yeah.
Dude,
No,
I don't
this
have
is-
enough money for. I'm gonna buy it. Just saying, whenever it's released. But holy shit, I'm spending way too much money. My girlfriend hates me right now. It's a sad thing.
I need to find room for this. That's all I'm saying. Like, if I end up buying this, provided it's not ludicrously overpriced. Like, if it's $300, no. I'm sorry. I love Fallout, but no.
Pip-Boy edition, the nuke, the replica pistol that we're getting,
Yeah, like-
and then this.
Those, yeah, the 3 is not like enough. Like, oh well, you know.
I'm trying to figure out how big it is.
Apparently,
not like
It doesn't really show scale, does it?
they don't have any
It's not like
details.
life-size bloody
No.
power armor. Yeah.
It might be like 9 inches tall. Might
Yeah,
be.
I feel
I'm
like
just
10
guessing.
to a foot.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
I have a feeling that it's going to be a little bit overpriced. It just feels
Yeah,
like it's going to
agree.
be. I don't know. I'm worried.
And yet it
I'm
will
going to buy it,
sell.
though.
There you go. This is why it will sell.
It's
It looks pretty
plastic,
cool.
I
I'm actually
know,
looking
but-
at it. It's looking pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I wonder, though, how they're going to sell this. Are they going to sell it standalone, or is it going to be bundled somehow and it's going to be exclusive? I don't think this is going to be as exclusive. I don't even know how many Pip-Boy editions they actually created. I'm sure that there were lots and lots of them. It just felt like there weren't enough because there was so much demand.
Yeah. I
But,
was gonna say.
yeah, hopefully everyone can get their hands on this if you missed a Pip-Boy edition.
Yeah, that would be that. You know, that would be a good trade-off. I mean, granted, it's additional money in this when you take a step back and look at it, because you know, let's say this is like what I said, like 200, 180, and you know the additional 60 for the game alone. But still, I think this would be cool to tack on. It seems like everything that they promote ends up going through the Bethesda store, except for that Fallout Monopoly. Are you fucking joking me? Like,
I would play that for hours.
Fallout,
I
like
sent.
the board game.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
That's
a
exactly
Fallout
what it sounds like.
Okay.
I sense family fights over this happening again.
it's like you're gonna lose.
Fuck you.
No,
But-
no. Here's my theory, because it's like you're gonna lose your friendships from Fallout 4. Why not just fucking obliterate them with Fallout Monopoly afterwards? Like, I don't
You
know.
lose your friendship in
That's
Fallout
the other
4, lose your
friends
family.
can, You know.
I'm trying to imagine the look on my girlfriend's face as I suggested we play that instead of normal Monopoly.
Do you guys play like Monopoly a lot, or I'm just
No, but we play like, you know, board games occasionally with the kids, and I'm trying to picture my suggesting we did Fallout 4 Monopoly. That that's not going to happen, I think.
Yeah. It could be an interesting twist to regular Monopoly. I mean,
it's an interesting twist of my bloody neck if I did.
Brilliant. Excellent.
Next is very interesting, in my opinion. In an interview with Josh Sawyer, he revealed that Fallout New Vegas almost had a quest where you would get drunk and awaken in the King's School of Impersonation, where you would be marrying Cass. Also on the side, I figure this is worth mentioning. When asked about working on another Fallout game, he said that Obsidian is still interested, but it's ultimately up to Bethesda. Nothing really new there, but those are just updated comments, so to say, because this is like
Sorry,
a week
wait,
ago.
go back to that one. Whether Obsidian were going to make another Fallout.
They were asked if they're going to make another Fallout game, and they said, we're interested, but... And he shrugged his shoulders, they said, meaning that it's up to Bethesda.
Right, so Obsidian were asked this. Were asked,
Josh Sawyer from Obsidian, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm with you now.
Yeah, but I guess, that's not really crazy news. We know Obsidian really wants to get, like, their hands on, like, let's work on, like, a full development cycle for Fallout rather than a year and, like, 8 months, I think it was. Or 6 months, rather.
They need an Obsidian created Fallout because the amount of time between BGS games is way too long. If we didn't get an Obsidian Fallout game, we would be waiting 8 years?
Another 10 years. Another 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah, like there you go. So we need a gap filler, but at least give Obsidian enough time to make this one.
I see him doing
Honestly,
it,
they could, as far as I'm concerned, they could give Obsidian the Fallout 4 engine and do exactly as they did last time. Say, here you go, here's the engine, go off and make what was essentially, if you look at Fallout New Vegas, a tweaked version of it with a rather large DLC. Because if you actually look at it, well, yeah. I mean, but if you look at it, it really just came down to the ESPs and ESMs that were shipped with it. If they give them Fallout 4 and say, here, go off and do an official Fallout, what would it be? I mean, we've had Fallout 3, then Fallout New Vegas, then we had Fallout 4. What are we going to have? Fallout somewhere else?
Fallout
New York.
Yeah.
I just figured
when New York was destroyed. It can't be.
Yeah,
I mean, destroyed, but it can come back. Yeah, I'd play it. Fuck
I'm not arguing with more Fallout.
Yeah.
Just put it this way: if we have to wait another 10 years for Fallout 5, I'd probably shoot myself. Like that's too long. It is too long.
You guys are not Elder Scrolls fans, are you?
I am. I love it.
That is. I like it. I've never played anything before Skyrim. I'll be 100% honest, but I like it.
Tried to get into it.
I played since Morrowind.
Okay, well, I've been playing since Daggerfall. And
since when it was a board game, No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was second game. Second game was the first one for me, and I really like it. But we're getting longer and longer between Elder Scrolls games as well. So
what about that ESO? Yeah.
No,
I just got complete silence from him.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, Gopher's gone, guys. You've upset him.
I'm sorry. I'm making a joke.
He's burrowing.
I don't like it either.
Like a gopher.
That's really clever, Noah. That's really clever.
Thanks.
So
I'm trying to figure out when the hell. I mean, if they've been working on Fallout 4 and assuming they've started working on another Elder Scrolls now whilst they're wrapping up Fallout 4, we're still looking at, I don't know what, 2018, 2019?
That's my guess was 2019. That's what my guess
19,
was.
that's like 8 years between Elder Scrolls games.
I know.
That's insane. It was 2006.
Well, the good thing about
Oblivion, was it?
Yeah, 2006.
5 years. That was a long bloody time. 8 years? Good grief.
I mean...
Just hire some new people, Bethesda. Just get a bigger office.
The 100-player team is not working anymore.
It's weird.
You've got two. Go on.
No, I was saying, like, we don't want to interrupt each other. They've stayed.
What, interrupting?
Yeah, shut up.
Oh my God.
They stayed at this really, in relative terms, a very small studio, and it's so odd because they create these incredibly large games, one of the larger game series, in video games, period. Huh? And yet they're this small development team, but that just requires, by implication, a very long development cycle. And why?
There's only like 10 of them.
There's like 100, isn't there?
I know. That was the joke. That's fine.
They've only got two current IPs. I mean, they've got Fallout and they got Elder Scrolls. They did do something else very briefly at one point. I can't remember.
Hockey.
Wayne Gretzky hockey.
Right, okay. So
we're still waiting on the sequel for that.
Yeah.
So they've got
football or some shit.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it, they've got two absolute cash cows right there.
Yeah,
they're made. And maybe they're worried about doing too much of a good thing. Don't rock the boat. I get it, but I can't help but think just hire some more people and pump out an Elder Scrolls game every 4 or 5 years and a Fallout game every 4 or 5 years. I mean, that way we get one every 2 to 2.5 years. We get a new game. Thanks. Just do it like that.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I always thought there was like a difference between, okay, take your time, make the games that we love, because in the end it's worth it because we get these fucking amazing games. But the same token, you take a step back and it's like, there's also a thing as waiting too long, where it's like, this is why you get these PR issues, I guess you could call them, where people harass Pete Hines endlessly, harass Bethesda endlessly before Fallout 4's announcement.
Fallout.
Yeah, remember Fallout's Instagram before Fallout 4 came out? Literally every comment, give us Fallout 4. Where's Fallout 4? And people who didn't even know what a Fallout was were like, oh, well, let's hop on. Where's Fallout? Like,
are we there yet? Basically,
exactly.
From the back of the car. No, I mean, the thing is at the same time, I do want them to take the time. I do. I mean, it looks like they took their time with Fallout 4, and the wait looks like, from what we've seen, it was worth it. They did a great job with the way they've released this, in my opinion. They've announced it once they're absolutely sure they've got it made and finished and ready to go. I think it was brilliant. And I don't want them to ruin that. I don't want the game to come rushed out or announced and then they miss the deadline or release something that's too buggy, because of course it will be buggy. It's a massive open world. It's going to be slightly buggy. We all know that. We all accept it. They'll fix it, I'm sure. And if they don't, of course, the modding community will. But push it a little bit, Bethesda. Just a little, maybe. I don't know.
I agree.
You don't have to double your team. Just maybe 30 or 40% bigger and come out a little faster.
My brilliant theory, and yes, I'm going to say brilliant.
Brilliant.
Because
humble brag.
No, because I'm not cocky, but I think this would be such a good move. All right, Chris Avallone left Obsidian. Hire him and make a separate second Bethesda Game Studios. Let him take the helm of the team, because he's just as good as mine as Todd Howard, in my opinion. And let him run a whole studio, a part of Bethesda Game Studios, but it's another 100-man team or whatever. I don't know.
But see, that's the thing though.
They got the money to hire all these people. Don't get me wrong.
They have the money, but like I understand their rhetoric in terms of, look, we're a 100-man studio, but we want to take our times with our games. That's fair enough. At least bring in another studio that can create IPs concurrently with your development. You don't have to change your development style or anything like that. But at least, for example, give the Fallout IP to Obsidian and let them create a Fallout game in between Fallout 4 and Fallout 5, etc. Because it's too long to wait for that. I understand that they want to take their time, but it's not just taking their time with one IP. It's taking their time with two IPs. So that means we're waiting not only 4 to 5 years in between games of Bethesda Game Studios, but we're waiting 8 to 9 to 10 years between different IPs within the same studio. It's excessive. It's very excessive.
They can't also blur the fact that they have Bethesda Game Studios fans who, like all of us here, will play either Elder Scrolls or Fallout. And then there's people who are just Fallout fans and say, I don't like Elder Scrolls. So Fallout fans getting this Fallout game are going to have only this Fallout game for, like a decade. And that's unfair in the sense when you take a step back and look at it. So,
and then there's people who are still, again, waiting on the Wayne Gretzky, where
I thought you had something productive. Thought you had something.
They're out there, are they?
Yeah.
No, look, I'm gonna put a counterpoint to what you're saying though, and say that splitting the team completely might be a bad idea. I have been a Fallout fan since the start. Fallout 1. Now, I mean, I don't mean from Wasteland. I didn't play it at Wasteland, but from Fallout 1 onwards. And I'm one of those strange Fallout fans that has followed the series since the start and liked the direction Bethesda took the series. Not necessarily story and lore-wise, although I'm less worried about that than others, but in the way they built the world and the fact that they made it open world and moddable. Now, that's, for obvious reasons. I enjoy modding games. And if they split it, are, will they end up with two different engines, and maybe the Fallout game won't be quite as mod friendly, and that I really don't want to see. I love the Bethesda mentality with mods. I love the way they implement modding for the most part, and I want Fallout to continue with that, because for me, Fallout as a standalone game is great, but modding just adds so many possibilities to it, to replay so many times, with it being slightly different or even radically different each time, not just because of a character change or a personality change, but new creatures, new weapons, totally hardcore experience, or some new gameplay. Just it keeps evolving, and it can almost feel like a new version of the game, and I don't want to lose that. So that's splitting the company would make me worry a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say split it. I don't know if. No, I didn't mean it in the split term. I just meant like Chris Avallone heads like a whole separate team. He does the hiring on himself, and I'm saying it's just a whole nother team. Not like take half of Todd Howard's team, bring him over there. Like just choose studios.
Well, I'm thinking again, though, if you've got two separate teams, unless they're sharing an engine, they may end up going off with totally different interpreters. I'm thinking more people. And you're probably going to have some people who are pure Fallout 3, the designers, that people talking about the next game, quest planners. Same with Elder Scrolls. And then you're going to have some of the coders and some of the modelers and that type of thing who can probably move between teams. And as one game ramps up, more of them get moved over there. And then you'll have a kind of sharing of thought processes, a sharing of resources, of course. And you'll keep that similarity, I'm going to be honest, this modability of the game that Bethesda have right now, which obviously for me is important. I do appreciate this. For a lot of Fallout fans, they couldn't care less. So they probably would like Bethesda to give it back to Obsidian completely.
But so many people are very outspoken about that.
Yeah. The vocal few out there who call themselves the true fans.
The true I don't want to get into that.
You mean me? The true fan?
If you haven't played Fallout 1, you are not a true fan. Okay, that's
you don't know anything about Fallout.
No, in fact, it's not even that. It's if you haven't played it and you don't agree with every single opinion I have regarding number 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's just everyone on the internet.
Fan. If you didn't love Fallout 1 because of its insert whatever. I mean, so for some people, it's if you don't love it because of its morally grey quest, you're not a Fallout fan. If you don't love it because of its dialogue, you're not a. They forget the fact that Fallout appeals to a variety of people for a variety of reasons, and insist theirs is the only true reason.
No, exactly, and it's a bit. We were from a different time. Like myself, I'm in my early 20s, and Maddie and Noah are similar as well.
I'm 11, so
Noah's 11. We at the times that Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 were released, I didn't have a gaming PC. Many people didn't have gaming PCs. But when Fallout 3 came up, on the console, it opened that IP up to a brand new audience, and that's the game that we were introduced to, Fallout 3. Yeah. That doesn't mean that we're not true fans in the sense, because there were 2 past Fallout games, we have to play those to be able to play this. They're 2 completely different games. It's a top-down isometric versus pretty much a first/third-person open world exploratory game. And you can't just expect fans that are accustomed to this particular game style, like your FPS, and say, all right, go play a top-down isometric. It just doesn't make any sense. And I understand how...
I got to tell you, though. You should try them. I mean, I'm not saying you're not a true fan for not playing them, but they're oddly, they are a lot of fun. The thing is, I remember this whole transition from top-down to first-person, and a lot of the Fallout fans were like, you can't do this. It's a turn-based game. It's not an FPS game. It shouldn't rely on your own skill. And this is one of the things I've got to give major kudos to Bethesda, the VAT system, a system that I only ever use on my first playthrough. I use VATs on my first playthrough of all of the games usually, and then I stop using it because I do prefer a more FPS feel. I feel it flows more. But at the same time, I always use the VATs on the first time through, and I've got to say it was a stroke of genius almost. They managed to make a first-person shooter game feel like a turn-based game as it was in the original. They used action points and
it was such a beautiful incorporation of VATs, like something
absolutely.
that it was so difficult. Like, just think about how they thought of it. It was a turn-based game. You had this VAT system. The fact that they incorporated that into pretty much a real-time FPS style, it was beautiful, and that's why VATs took off and people love it so much. Obviously, it does take away from the seamlessness of playing a first-person shooter. It takes you out of it. It pauses the game. Which is why, mods with I can't remember what it was called, bullet time, I think it was, which kind of slows time down a little bit, but you're not taken out of the FPS perspective. But it was still an incredible juxtaposition between an isometric turn-based game and yet typical FPS. So I loved it.
Absolutely. And it made it so that the game didn't rely on your skill as an FPS gamer. And I love the new version of that where time is slowed, and again
it's not stopped, it's slowed.
It's not stopped. So you still get that continuity, but now you still have
a little bit quicker.
Yeah, you got to think a bit quicker, but at the same time it's still your character making the shot. You don't have to have it's still going to be very good for people who use controllers instead of mice, because I'm probably putting down controller users again, but because they don't have quite as good aim. So it's all about the character, not the player. And I think that's so. Although Bethesda get a lot of grief for turning Fallout into an FPS game, the sort of game that you guys actually love, I'm one of these people who've been there since the start, and I actually loved the transition. I found the transition to an FPS game made it much more immersive, much more... I felt more connected. I felt like I was the character, whereas in Fallout 1, I felt I was controlling the character.
Definitely.
And I do this even in over-the-shoulder games to some degree. When I play The Witcher, I do feel more connected to Geralt as a character than I would if it was a top-down game. But I still occasionally think of him as Geralt rather than me. Whereas when I'm playing, the kid from Vault 101, I feel like him because it's first person. I prefer that perspective.
Yeah. And that's the worry with having a voice protagonist, but that's a different conversation. We could talk about that for days.
Yeah. I'm
not a fan of it.
I'm not offended by it like some people are, because of course I'm a fan of games like Witcher, Mass Effect, Dragon Age Origins. I really enjoy these games, and of course they all have voiced protagonists, but from a first-person game, I think it's always easier when you're playing a game that's third-person. So The Witcher, because you're looking at them and now you're hearing their voice. But when I'm playing a first-person, I know you sort of step out. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? In the conversations, it looks like it steps out into third-person, and then you're watching the character from the outside. I think it's a little weird. I'm not in love with it, I have to admit, but I'm not.
I don't think that's. I think that's like the default view, but you can actually have those perspectives where you're looking at the character, and it's not like this cinematic third-person perspective where you're looking at your character speak and you're watching the dialogue from that perspective. But I think you can change that. Although I will say that because obviously the scripts, they're going to be somewhere in the game files. We're going to see mods that are going to just bring it back to the original Fallout 3 New Vegas, but not having a voice.
I know for a fact that's going to happen.
It is going to happen.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just make all the voice lines completely silent and speed them up, because I think the amount of time it pauses on, especially if you're going first person, if you can lock it to first person and just make it so as soon as you click it, there's no pause, and I'm sure you'll be able to. Then that's probably better, because I mean, like when I do my Let's Plays, of course I read the lines out. The problem with that is going to be the Mass Effect / Witcher effect on conversations. And by that I mean, when you select a line in those games, you don't know what you're saying. You click a line that says, I don't agree, and then the character
it's
goes, I think you're a complete moron who doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and I'm going to stab you in the face if you say that again, or some such equivalent.
Like, yeah.
And that's Fallout 4. That's what Fallout 4 is going to be.
And you think to yourself, I didn't say that. What?
Sorry.
But of course, the thing is you still got that effect without realizing it in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, because you would say a line, but you still don't quite know how your character, how the quest creator interpreted that line. So I've been in the time when I've said something, and then the response I've got back is as if I've said something really rude when I meant to say it really well. So that's a problem that's already in games even without voice acting, but I think it's doubly so in games where what they do is they give you 3 or 4 words of a sentence, you click on it, and then you get a 5-sentence conversation from them. Now, how would you mod that? Would you click on that one line and then it slowly shows all the other lines that you're going to say so they make sense? And that's the other thing. I haven't seen how it works. Is it one response from the player and then one response from the NPC, then the player? Or is it like in Witcher where you pick one line and then there might actually be 2 or 3 lines of back and forth where it, the character says... Because in Witcher or Mass Effect, you'll get the character says something, then the NPC says something, the character says something, and back and forth before you've got any control.
I don't like that.
Yeah, and if that's in Fallout 4, it's going to be very hard to mod that out.
I don't think it's going to be that intense. I do agree that it's going to be what you choose is going to be a sufficed version of what's actually said. We've seen that. We know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to follow a Mass Effect feel in that it will tell you if what you're saying has a negative or positive effect in terms of we've seen it color coded. You know what I mean?
Color code.
Yeah. Some people don't like that. Some people call that the dumbing down, and I disagree again.
I think it's just additional information so you don't fuck up.
You should have some indication that what you're saying is going to be said with a rude tone or an aggressive tone. If a line you read could be taken aggressively or friendly, I'd like to know which it's going to be before I click it. So I think those things are actually good. And and again, we're trying to judge this with...
Well, it's funny you bring that up because, we had the voice director and the female protagonist voice actor on the podcast last week, and they were talking about this exact thing, wherein in a video game or even in a movie, like the character will say something and you're like, well, I don't agree with that. And I think they've taken a lot of steps and a lot of attempts in Fallout 4 to ensure that doesn't happen. So the text, like the small bit of text that you see on the dialogue wheel, that's at least mostly representative of what the character's about to say next. But so hopefully that's good.
What I give Cal credit for is that Cal did admit, though, he said, like, the game's not in the sense where, like, there's, we'll get to this next, but there's 111,000 lines of dialogue. Not every line is going to be like, you're going to click that and be like, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Like, he kind of, you remember that? He kind of said, like, there'll be times where you're going to click on it and not get what you want because it's a video game. It's going to happen.
Here's the thing. In the mod, when they mod this, they may actually be able to find... Because, of course, there will be subtitles. So the text they actually say will be in the game somewhere. So you may find a modder can actually replace the text that you click by default with an actual carbon copy of what you're going to say. Obviously, that's going to require a different user interface because the...
It'd be a complete overhaul.
Right, but it might be possible that they'll have something that allows you to actually, so they'll disable the voice. You won't hear the voice. There'll be no delay once you click it, and what you see is what would have been said had you clicked it. So it may actually be possible, but for 11, it all depends on how on earth the game's delivering the dialogue, whether or not they will be able to take that and put it in as the, I don't know what you call it, the clickable text, because usually that's something that the game decides. Although I suppose with things like Script Extender, it may be possible for them to actually... I don't know. I can think of ways of modders doing this, actually, and there may even be ways of doing... I'm already starting to think about this now. Yes.
Gopher, it's on you. It's
right.
on you.
Oh, God, I wouldn't be doing this. That would be a time-consuming one, but I can see that happening, actually.
Cool. cool. I
Wrapping
love
back,
how sidetrack we get.
Yeah, I just wanted to wrap back to one thing about the classic Fallouts versus the new ones, I guess we'll call them. I'd say, in the terms of judging like who's a fan and what an actual fan is, that never really should be anyone's concern. But I feel like if there's one thing that does irk me, it's when people go, I didn't play the classic Fallouts, but it's okay. I read the wiki. I'm like, just play it then. Like, just play the fucking game. If you care about what happened, just play the damn game. Because that's what I did. I used to be that guy who was like, I don't need to play it, man. I played 3 New Vegas all the time, and I read the wiki. And then I played 1 and 2, and Tactics, I was like, holy shit, there's so much more of this. Everything's sticking to me now. This is so much more interesting as well. This is way better. It's like, if you're one of those people, just fucking play it. Just play it.
But it's going to depend what you want from the game. I mean, you love the lore. You love being immersed in it. Some people just want to play that particular story and enjoy it. And as far as I'm concerned, more power to them. If they want to play it with their brains completely switched off and that's how they enjoy it and they paid for the bloody game, have at it. I'm of that opinion. I mean, this is one of the key things in modding. Mod the game to be the way you want it. If you want to mod the game so you press a button and win, hey, I'm not.
You know how much shit I got for using Spider-Man costumes in my Fallout 3? Oh my god.
Wait, that wasn't
okay.
canon?
I retract what I just said. There are some limits, and you may have just reached them. No, but if you want to do it,
No.
Like after 1,000 hours, I want to be Spider-Man.
The level of hate you got for that was so.
Yeah, I was
hysterical.
literally Satan for playing in a Spider-Man costume. Like, what the fuck is this, Matt? Holy shit! You just spit on the goddamn Fallout Bible.
I mean, that's the thing, though. Everyone seems to be utterly obsessed with trying to make absolutely everybody else play the game exactly the way they play it. It's just. Everyone's different. Let them play. It's a game.
Let Matty play Spider.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, exactly. Final piece of news. We're already there. Wow. Fallout 4's voice acting is complete, and will, as I said earlier, have 111,000 lines of dialogue.
That's massive.
One of them being Brian's.
Yeah, well, yeah,
fuck you!
26,000 of those lines are dedicated to our male and female protagonists, which puts it at about 25,000 more, I'd say, roughly, than Skyrim.
So that's interesting, because that kind of inflates the numbers if you're combining both of the lines of the protagonist, because they're essentially the same lines for the most part. So I don't know if that 111,000 figure includes just 13,000 lines for the male protagonist, or for both protagonists combined, or 26,000 for both of them, because the 13,000 are the same for each. So I don't know how that calculation was made.
I'd imagine both, because in both the interviews we had, they kind of hammered away that you're going to want to have 2 playthroughs because the lines are different, the stances on both characters are going to be different and stuff. So I'd personally imagine they factor them in. I'm not saying that what they're saying is entirely true. We won't know until we play the game, but still.
It's a lot of lines.
That's a lot of fucking lines.
You know the voice actor. Let's just talk to him. We'll see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This call Brian.
They'll totally break embargo for us. Let's just see what's up. We're not reporters or anything.
It's interesting though that I don't know why people were being so fixated on the number of lines. And no, you have to take away the lines of dialogue for the protagonist because in past games they weren't voiced. But that's like. Well, that doesn't mean that they didn't put the time and effort into creating 13,000 lines for each protagonist. It shows, in my opinion, that Bethesda is completely serious and intent on this whole aspect of having a voice protagonist or having 2 voice protagonists. They want it to work, and the fact that they've put so many lines of dialogue in, obviously, it's quality over quantity, but I think that the fact that they've taken 2 years of development time to get this right, the fact that you hear it in Cal's tone when you talk to him, he was so careful in making sure that the voice protagonist, it wasn't like a shock to the system, that it actually worked with Fallout, that people are going to accept the change.
Almost.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that when people actually hear the voice protagonist, that they're like, wow, this is actually really good. Bethesda put a lot of effort into this, and 111,000 lines, I think that is representative of that fact.
Some people will hate it regardless. It's change, and I mean, I'm not even.
Hate change.
And I'm not even sure how I feel about it. And are they going this way with Skyrim? Maybe they will. Maybe that's what most people want. And when it comes down to it, that's probably, if that's true, that's probably how it's going to be with every game eventually. And, we have to sort of adapt to it. But people are going to hate it just because.
Comparison. I've used it so many times in the past, but it's the best.
3 in a row now. I know what you're going to do.
Yes, 3 in a row, but it makes sense. So Bioshock 1,
oh my God.
Bioshock Infinite, okay? It makes complete sense because I felt connected to Booker DeWitt. I didn't feel connected to I don't even remember what the name of the protagonist was in Bioshock 1. Like, I think it's See, you're all hesitating. But you think of Bioshock Infinite and you know...
I've only played a little bit of that game, and the only person I remember was the guy that kept talking to me over the radio who was Scottish. Don't tell me anything about it, because I'm going to go back and play those games. I only played a little bit of Bioshock 1.
Oh, okay.
All
Don't watch past the podcast then.
You are in for a treat then.
If I get time to play it, I'm in for a treat.
No, absolutely. Bioshock 1's not that long. Bioshock Infinite's a little bit longer. I'm not saying don't play 2, but if you don't have time, for 2, then you'll be okay. But if you should at least play 1.
I'll play them all. If I play them, I'll play them all from the start. That's just how I am.
Okay, I've got them anyway. You're like me then. Yeah, you're just gonna go 1. Oh, he didn't say to play 2, but I'm gonna play it anyways.
Yeah.
Try to avoid comment sections and anything that potentially might spoil the game for you, because those games are incredible. I love them. Next to Fallout. Favorite games. I love them.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I'm kind of used to doing that though. I've got an automatic spoiler filter. I try to sort of, when reading comments, only read ones that look like they're. Generally, you can spot things that are going to spoilers. Yeah. Like, I'm not sure if you realize, but, and then brain switches off.
I always like to just say everyone dies. That's my go-to.
Right. Okay. So, as a big spoiler, but I mean, I'm getting the same with Stalker. I'm doing a blind playthrough of Stalker late. I'm doing Witcher 3. I'm doing Witcher 3, and apparently people, it's almost to the point where people are going, "Oh my God, you're still playing this game? It's ancient, dude."
Yeah, how like many things there are in that game.
I just beat that game like 2 weeks ago. That's a big game. Like, when you do the side stuff, I have so much side stuff to do. It's overwhelming. I can't look at it.
Yeah, but you know what it's like nowadays. People are just like, dude, this game is so early 2015. What the hell are you still playing it for? Yeah. But like some of the games I'm playing
June.
Yeah, right. So, but
forgetting
of course
fact that we have jobs and
I'm
we
still
don't
getting
have enough time to play every day. Yeah.
Well, yeah, my job is this, and I'm still. I've only just started, but I wanted to finish Witcher 2. I'm late to the Witcher franchise, and I was determined to play 1 and 2 before 3. Mm-hmm. So, which is odd because I actually got to play a little bit of The Witcher 3 before I'd finished Witcher 2 completely, because I went to Poland.
I remember that. I remember those videos. I was excited for you. That was fucking awesome.
Wait, that's when you went to the studio?
Yeah,
I went to the studio. And because I didn't want to spoil it for myself, on certain bits of the conversation, I took the headphones off and just randomly picked conversational points so that I didn't.
Which made all the characters die. No.
And then, or when talking to people, I'd be like hitting the skip buttons. So that I kind of knew I'd talk to them, and I kind of knew I had a quest to go off and check something, but I didn't quite know why. But I had to follow some of the quest conversations because I had to try and get a feeling for how good the acting was, which was bloody superb.
Yeah.
I listened to the Emperor's lines, and of course that's Charles Dance. So
the guy who played as what's his name in Game of Thrones?
Tywin Lannister.
Tywin, yeah. Oh my God, great stuff.
He's always been a brilliant actor though. So. But yeah, so I mean, I was determined to finish number 2 before I started number 3, and so I'm slow to the party, I'm afraid.
Nah, so was I. I tried. I played 10 hours of The Witcher 2, and like it's not like I couldn't get into it. It's just like I guess that's kind of actually it. I got hooked, and I think a new game came out or something. I was like, I'll play this later, and I just when I tried to come back, I was like, I'm not interested anymore.
Did you play Witcher 1?
No.
That was a tough game to get through, but still absolutely super.
I didn't play all of it. Matt, you made me get it when we were on our used game binge for like 8 summers. And
oh my god, that was great.
It was a fun time. And it was a fun game. I didn't beat it. I played like kind of a third of it, and it didn't keep my interest, if I'm honest.
No,
which is weird because usually I like open world quest games, but I just.
Well, number
it's
two's
a good
not
game.
open world though. Number two's not open world.
That's true. It's a little more
really,
linear.
and it's the thing is I mean, number one especially. It's a tough game to get through. It really makes you work for it, and you know the quality of things like voice acting in number one was terrible. Even though the story was awesome, it was really it was put together a bit kind of. Well, it wasn't executed well, but there was something about it. There was something that kept me going through it. Something that just there was some love, some attention to detail. The background lore, for example, you just found yourself getting drawn in if you could suffer the pain, and it did. It had a pain barrier, The Witcher, and The Witcher 2 to some degree, probably for some people. Although after playing Witcher 1, Witcher 2 felt like just rolling downhill. It was a piece of cake compared to the first game. But I was already hooked then. Witcher 3, I mean, you can see the transition this company have gone through.
Yeah.
When you play these 3 games, because Witcher 3 is just so easy and pleasant to play. So pleasant, it's ridiculous. Maybe one of the easiest games to play I've ever played, if you know what I mean. Like, there's nothing about it that I have to try to enjoy. There's nothing I have to sort of ignore to get to the next step. I'm enjoying every step. I'm enjoying taking my time, much to some of my viewers' disgust. It's like, oh my God, get out of the starting area. But there's a bit I haven't checked yet, dude. There's a bit I have not checked. There's a tree over there I have not inspected. Go away.
There's a tree over there.
So, you know, and it's that. There's nothing about The Witcher 3 so far that has been hard work. And I think that's one of the great things I've seen from CD Projekt Red across their 3 games. This progress from a lovable but bloody annoying cult classic to a superb AAA title that pretty much shows all the big boys how the hell they should be doing it. We really got off track, didn't we? How the hell did we get?
Let's put it this way, Gopher. We are an hour and 40 minutes in, and we've just finished the news.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was what we were doing, the news. Is there another section?
There's 3 more.
Okay, you may have to cut this down a little bit for you, or are you going to just do like,
No
here's
worries.
the pod,
Yeah.
here's the bloody podcast, have fun. That's what I do with my live
will.
streams.
Because
Can't
we
cut
don't want to
it.
keep you up too late. So we'll speed through these. We promise.
Well, I had some sleep earlier. I'm fine. We might.
Good.
We,
All right,
do
sweet.
we,
Yeah,
do we have
it's
a
morning here where I am.
Yeah, I know. I actually play Payday 2 with someone from Australia, so I'm kind of aware of the ridiculous time zone thing. Do we get a break or anything in this?
Yeah, of course.
Do you want? I mean, if you want to go, if you need to take a pee or something.
Coffee.
Yeah,
I need a
call it
coffee.
that.
Hello, coffee.
Feel free, man.
It's been 2 hours since my last coffee.
I'm gonna go get something to drink actually as well.
Go nuts.
record.
We can
All
edit this
right,
out.
enjoy this nice little brief advertisement. Yeah.
I'm very hungry. I'm actually very hungry. All right, whenever you're ready, Matty, you can just
Oh, it's
transition in.
up to me now.
Yes, it's up to you.
All right.
We're back. We're back.
Thanks, Noah.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the H.A.M Radio Podcast. Your full dose of fucking fuckery.
No need to say welcome back because all I'm gonna do is jump
Welcome
cut.
back,
It's
guys.
gonna be a natural, just a
It's gonna
natural
be so
transition.
weird sounding.
I'm not
No,
going to do the natural
so
transition.
we're-
I'm including
this is
this
it.
bit right
Yeah.
now.
We need this unprofessional.
We're just going to be talking, and then out of nowhere, Noah's like, "We're back." That's the transition.
That's what we're gonna do as well.
All right, let's jump to what we're at.
So we're gonna cut out the Bethesda spotlight this week, and we're just gonna move on to our favorite gaming news bit. I know you guys are also heartbroken to hear us scramble for something we want to talk about. But regardless, who would like to go first?
I go first as
I
usual.
would like to
Piss everyone
just-
off.
I would like to put out this to discussion, the whole Deus Ex, pre-order dilemma.
But am I going first?
Oh
I
God.
just want to know.
No, because I know that this is going to bring about a lot of discussion for all of us. I know Gopher, you made a video. I know Total Biscuit made a video. Boogie, like this is big news because it's just such a clusterfuck. Really, I can't believe that this kind of pre-order system even exists. The fact that we've gone from just regular pre-orders to
$5 down. There's your copy guaranteed.
But it's weird how this system works. Like, I think it's ingenious in the sense that in terms of making money, but in terms of, being good for the customer, it is not at all. Because it operates on the basis where there are several tiers, and those tiers will only unlock when the global pre-order number gets to that particular threshold. So
really? I didn't know that part. What the
so what
kind
happens
of shit is that?
There are 5 tiers. Like, you get 3 different skins in one tier. That's the first tier that's unlocked, and I think that's the default exclusive pre-order bonus. But as pre-order numbers go up around the world, and there are actually Kickstarters now that have started to push this along, tiers will start to unlock. And one of the last ones is to play the game 4 days early. One of them is to get an exclusive mission.
I saw
What
that.
the fuck are we talking about?
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Sorry.
They've got this pre-order thing that some genius in marketing came up with.
Right. Okay.
And it's one of those things that sounded really good in a board meeting.
Yeah.
With other suits and ties sitting
Right,
there.
and in a way almost sounds fun if you're living in a total vacuum and are not aware of the fact that the entire...
You live in a boardroom.
Right, I mean, it's like the people who came up with this didn't realize that it's 2015 and people are sick to bloody death of the pre-order culture. They're sick to death of it. Mm-hmm. And 2015, I think, is the year everything got turned around. You've got companies coming out, releasing games like The Witcher, Fallout 4, where the pre-orders are perfectly reasonable. They don't give you any exclusives. They don't do anything stupid. You don't feel like you're being abused or used as a customer. And it looks like some publishers are getting the right idea. And then they release this game, and apparently they've been paying no attention to the hate all the other pre-orders have been getting and all the love that some companies have been getting for not doing that, and decided to go one step further and see really how many people they could infuriate. The answer was...
Mortal Kombat took it...
Oh, God, you had that.
Was a bit too far.
Oh, bring it there. Come on, we have segments.
No, it's just... Bringing it, though, is as an example, the whole Goro, the fact that Goro was cut out, an iconic character that everybody was excited to play as, and it was taken out of the game unless you pre-ordered it. That's absolutely absurd. I don't mind pre-orders if they're like...
Could you not order it? Could you not order it afterwards once pre-order was done?
It was available for $5 afterwards. Or
$5. You had to pay.
Well, that's at least some. Okay. So in a way,
still,
if they'd have remarketed that as, instead of you have to pre-order to get Goro, if you pre-order, you get $5 off, and then just make the price $50. What was the price of the game? $60.
Yeah.
Make the price of the game $65 at launch, but if you pre-order it, you get $5 off, i.e. the price of a DLC. Suddenly it sounds a bit different. Suddenly it sounds like the old pre-orders where you used to get 10% off. When they cut stuff out on what seems to be the threat, I mean, everyone's telling me this extra in-game mission will probably be available as a paid-for DLC, which is better, in my opinion, than it being totally pre-order exclusive, because I won't play a game if I can't play every bloody mission. Thank you very much. But then it's just the way it looks. It looks like they cut something out to hold it hostage.
I mean, Total Biscuit explains this perfectly. If you have content that is ready to go day one, don't block us from that content. If it's ready, just give it to us as part of the base game.
Right. With the early release, if you've got the game 4 days early, and you know you've got it 4 days early, that's the bloody release date. What you're actually saying is pre-order, or you're going to have to wait 4 extra days. I mean, that's what I read when I read this. And in 2015, this just seems the epitome of stupidity to me, because this is 2014 behavior, in my opinion. This is the sort of thing.
That's so 2014.
We all sat around 2014 going, oh, well, we're just not even surprised about how crappy things are now. Yeah. But we've seen in 2015 both sides of this coin, and we like one side, we don't like the other, and apparently it's Square Enix, right? They've not been paying attention. This is another one of those things where they just are not paying attention.
Absolutely.
I don't know how much extra money they'll make from this pre-order thing, if they will. But my God, the taste it leaves in people's mouths.
It's extortionate.
It just boils down to exactly what we said at the beginning. It sounded good on paper when they were all talking about it from a business standpoint, but they didn't know their audience clearly.
Well, it's ingenious. It's ingenious from a business perspective. I'm not going to lie, but in terms of being, good for the customer and the consumer, it is not at all. I mean,
because so many people are going to be like, "Oh yes, early access." Wait a second, if it's fucking ready, it's fucking ready.
And it's not. And the way I say it, it's not paying for if you pay for this or pre-order the game, you get this additional content. It's more if you don't pre-order, you don't get this.
That's it. That's how everyone sees it. They don't see it as extra value. They see it as value having been removed from them if they don't agree to give money in advance before all the reviews come out.
I mean, even Street Fighter shipped with locked characters on the disc that you had to pay for the DLC, and they were already on the disc. They were created. That's the sense of taking content away. If it's ready on day one, release it in the base game. Fallout 4 is, I think, Bethesda's operating perfectly in that they haven't even looked at the DLC. They've started thinking of concept ideas, but they haven't created it. Their DLC is, being created post-launch, which is, I think, the traditional model of DLC and the way it should stay. Not as in, we're going to create DLC content before the game is even released, and you're going to have to pay for it on launch. That's absolutely absurd.
Well, then again, look at The Witcher 3's DLC. I mean, they obviously were planning DLC before the launch, and they'd started to develop it, but they'd promised that all of that DLC was going to be released weekly as freebies, and they did. They've been. I don't know how many they released. 17, was it?
Yeah, I think they're close to the end of it all.
Free DLCs, totally lovely. We were working on some of this stuff whilst we were building up to release, because obviously some of the developers were probably free, doing very little, and they just decided to release it as free. It generates goodwill, and goodwill. I mean, it seems that some companies, some publishers, have just not understood the concept of goodwill.
No,
and this is a prime case of it. How they came up with this idea and nobody in the room went, seriously, have you any idea how badly people are going to insult you? There's going to be two types of people. There's going to the people who go, this is terrible, this is evil, and then they're going to be the other half of the people who go, yeah, but that's how it is now. What are you going to do? There's going to be very few people, very few, and there will be some, before everyone starts commenting in the comment section, there will be some who go, no, I think this is a great idea.
Yeah.
You will be a minority. the vast majority will either be, we hate this, or the jaded kind of, well, that's just how things are now, I'm kind of used to it.
Wait, I just thought, this isn't the first time this happened. Didn't Call of Duty do something like this, like a day zero launch thing?
Get me started with Call of Duty.
Yeah, did they do that with Advanced Warfare?
Yeah, they did day zero, pre-order this, you get it a day early kind of shit, and so many people ate that up.
Apparently extra missions have been a thing before. In Deus Ex, apparently Human Revolution had a pre-order mission that you only got, if you didn't pre-order it, you had to pay for it or something in an expansion that came out later. I don't remember that. I mean, that's the thing. I wasn't really paying that much attention to it. If I'd have known that at the time, I would have been really angry. But they probably got away with it then because we were okay with pre-orders a few years ago, back when pre-orders meant, either 10% off or some plastic crap or a map or some box with a figure in it. Now we see the word pre-order, and what was that word you were screaming earlier that I won't say?
Me?
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Was it? I can't remember now.
Was it Noah or the
F-U that you were screaming that I won't say?
Yeah, the fuck.
Right, because that's what I read when I see pre-order now. That's what most people see when they see pre-order. They see pre-order and they see a foul bloody word. They see an insult. They see a publisher sticking their middle finger up at the same time as trying to put their hand in their pocket to steal all their money. That's what people see.
Even the word or the phrase season pass has gotten that bad reputation with it.
Don't get
him started on season pass.
Listen, I want to give you an example.
Arkham Knight, baby.
No, you brought up Call of Duty. Did you know that me in Australia, Guess how much the season pass for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is? $60. As much as you guys are paying for the full game, that's the season pass for me. $60. Absolutely absurd.
That gives you,
and that's only a $5 discount if you buy the individual map pack separately. A $5 discount. I'm paying as much as you guys are paying for the full game for a season pass.
I'm angry. You're making me livid.
I'm frustrated. Anyway,
I'm not one of these people who says don't pre-order, because I occasionally do pre-order. I've pre-ordered Fallout 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I know I'm going to play it. I don't expect any special bonuses. I actually pre-ordered the digital copy, so I didn't even need to. But I knew I was going to play this game. I knew I wanted it day one. Exactly. And in fact, if they do one of those things where you can download it a few days before, but the files are locked, I want to do that so I can see the files for obvious reasons.
Go for props.
Start modding.
But I'm not against pre-order as long as it's honest pre-order. It's like you can buy this game early, so you download it ahead of time, so you're playing minute one, or you pre-order it so you get a small percentage off, or some random piece of plastic.
Or
I don't even
or something like outfits.
I was going to say I don't even mind a little T-shirt that says "I've got more money than sense" or something when you get in game. But
I like some. I mean, me personally, I like the physical thing. Like, I remember when I pre-ordered Skyrim and I picked it up. I didn't even know about the pre-order bonus, but they put like an actual physical map in there. I still have it hung up on my wall because I thought it was such a cool little idea. Like stuff like, I don't think it always has to pertain to the game. It can. I like the stuff.
Extras.
Personally. Yeah, extras. Like, not like, oh, I'm not missing out if I don't pre-order, but if I get something, it's like, oh, that's cool.
Exactly.
Right. But with Deus Ex, you get the feeling that what they've done is they've taken out core things from the game, like an extra mission or the release date, and said, this is now extra. And it's and then with, what was it, Mortal Kombat, we'll take one of the prime characters out. This is getting to the point where they're going to take absolutely every bit of content. You're going to have the game file, you'll start the tutorial, and everything else will be extra. You'll get to the end of the tutorial and they'll say, would you like to buy the rest of the game? Kind of this concept that, and this is what I keep going back to. This year we have seen an example of games doing it right. The Witcher, here is a game, it's 200 hours, it's a game, there are no extras, nothing's been cut out. It's a standalone game. It's like CD Projekt Red walked out on stage, dumped it, and said, "That's what we got. This is the price. We think this game will sell itself. We don't need any marketing employees. Exactly. We don't need to twist your arm. We don't need to do any fancy. Convince you to buy this. Here's the game. It will sell itself, and it's a breath of fresh air."
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I agree.
And then Deus Ex Mankind Divided comes.
Whatever. It's like a waste of breath. I'm gonna reiterate what everyone's already said.
Anyway,
doesn't it seem so stupid? Doesn't it just seem? Yeah. Don't you just look at this and think, "Oh God, really?"
And it's even worse because even if you pre-order for the skins, for example, you can't get them all. You have to choose out of 3. You can only choose 1. What?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like there are 3 skins and you can only pick 1.
It just kind of takes the energy out of your system. It's like one of those really depressing things where I'm like, wow. Okay.
But it's annoying in the sense that the marketing is conveying this message. You get to choose what you want, customize your pre-order. But no, it's not that. It's saying you can only pick 1. It's absurd.
You don't feel like you're choosing. You feel like you're choosing the way you're going to be tortured. It's kind of someone. Right, would you like to be burnt to death or have your teeth pulled out? Thanks for the choice and everything, but I said it in my own video, and I am very much against piracy. I do not pirate. Do not condone piracy. But stuff like this, you look at it and you think, okay, do you think there'll be a crack out there somewhere that will let me play all of the
it makes you think evil thoughts.
So even if you buy the game, the last time I had this was Assassin's Creed 2, where I bought a game and I honestly thought about getting the pirated version because the pirated version was playable, whereas the version I bought was not, because they had this awful DRM. They had this
I remember
DRM
that video.
that
I remember
failed.
That was like that "Why I Hate Ubisoft" video or something.
That's
like
why
that.
I hate Ubisoft. And so all of the people who pirated the game got to play while I was trying to connect to their servers, and their servers kept getting DDoSed by pirates.
And that's such a shame.
Didn't the same thing
Assassin's
happen
Creed
with
2
SimCity?
Could be, but that's when you start saying to yourself, you've bought a game and you're thinking about trying to get the pirated version because it will be better and a more fun experience. And I'm looking at Deus Ex, I'm looking at these
That's when you know
cosmetic
you fucked
packs,
up.
and I'm thinking to myself, if I buy this, will there be a way I can unlock those? I know it's not strictly legal, but is there a way I can do it? I mean, I wouldn't even think that if they said, right, pay an extra $3 and you can have all of these skins. Not that I buy them, but you get the point when you're looking at something and thinking, you're not even giving me the bloody option to buy these at day one or what?
Yeah.
My philosophy is that, pre-orders have slowly become compensation for the lack of something in a sense, where like you look at studios like we were talking about, like CD Projekt Red, Bethesda Game Studios, who just come out, show their game, and you'll pre-order it. They don't need to convince you otherwise, like you said, Gopher. That's all it should come down to now. It slowly is, and that's what I think. It seems like pre-orders are just this like, well, I'm not saying that games who do pre-order bonuses don't have anything to offer. I think Batman Arkham Knight was a fantastic game, but it had a million one pre-order bonuses. Get this exclusive mission from GameStop or this one from Walmart.
Arkham Knight. That's the one that's locked at 30 frames a second.
No, I didn't play on PC. I played on PS4. So
PC had and so many problems on that. It was locked at 30 FPS. I can't believe that they released that game.
I wasn't surprised though. You look at the issues that Origins had. I just had this gut feeling. I couldn't give any proof or substance to it, but I just had this gut feeling. I'm like, the PC port for Arkham Knight is going to suck, and it did, because they were stupid.
And thank God for Steam refunds. Thank God for Steam refunds, because if that system wasn't there, fuck.
I remember somebody on one of my videos basically telling me that people really didn't care about 30 frames a second. And he was making this comment. And then pretty much about 2 hours later, Batman Arkham Knight came out with a 30 FPS lock, and I pointed to that to him and said, "I think you underestimated how much people are going to react when they don't have access to 60 frames a second." And he went, "Nah, it'll all blow over in a day or so. Everyone will have forgotten about it." It's like
it's the whole cinematic thing. Oh, it looks better at 30. It's cinematic.
Oh
no,
my god! I would never forget who said that. Who's the fucking idiot? No, EA.
That was for
EA.
Oh, that was for the game. Which game was it? The
Ubisoft,
one that lasted 25 minutes. The Order,
AC4?
something.
AC4? Oh, the Order 1886. Yeah.
1886. It's like. Oh, we're making it more cinematic. 30. Oh, wasn't it him who said it?
I thought it was Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed 4. I want to say.
Is Assassin's Creed 4 only doing 30 frames a second?
I don't know. Like, I swear, I thought it was an Assassin's Creed game. I want to say it was Ubisoft though. Can someone?
Fuck Ubisoft. It had to be there.
Who thinks 30? What is it? I know I'm totally sidetracking you now, but what is it about frames per second that makes it okay for that to go backwards? Everything else in gaming has gone forward. We 20 years ago we were playing on 600 by 400 resolution. Maybe even lower than that. I remember playing Doom on 320 by 200 resolution. We were playing games that had crappy 2D graphics. We were playing games that were like 20 frames a second. Yeah, everything's gone forward. Resolution's got bigger, details have got better, content's got better, voice acting's got better, and so did frame rate. Frame rate got better and better until about 15, 20 years ago when we were all expecting 100 frames a second on our CRT monitors, and then all of us.
I got it. I found the game. It was Ubisoft. It was Assassin's Creed Unity. Gamers were complaining that it was at 30 frames with 900p on Xbox One and PS4, and they were like, this week, gamers accused Ubisoft of keeping the frame rate and resolution down to these numbers to avoid the PS4 having a graphical advantage, but Nicholas, world-level designer and director on Unity, told TechRadar that the decision was partly to give the game more of a cinematic gloss.
Oh, shut up.
That's not cinematic. You might as well have said we wanted to go for a more retro 1988 computer game vibe. As in crap.
Yeah.
Games
God.
will always play better at a higher frame rate. I
I
completely
don't know what
agree.
game
I
I
watched-
played that has a higher frames. I'm like, this sucks. Like, never
Yeah,
happened.
yes. Well, this is way too
Above
high.
all
Actually, no, that's a
above all.
lie. That's actually a lie. I remember, I mean, because I'm older than you guys, I remember upgrading on Quake 2. I believe it's Quake 2. I got my first Voodoo card, Voodoo 2, actually, I think it was. And I went from playing at 23 frames a second to between 45 and 60 frames a second. And I could only play for 20 minutes at a time without feeling physically ill.
You got motion sickness.
Wow.
I got motion sickness, and it took me 3 or 4 months to get used to it. And I did
That's why
get
I
used to
can't
it.
play a lot of PC games right now, like just because I don't know, it gives me
You
shit.
know, I see a lot.
The
like,
fast
even,
frame
like,
rate, yeah.
The fast frame, like, because it messes with me.
It messed with me, but my game improved 1,000-fold. I went from being, at the top end of the leaderboard to dominating. People were accusing me of hacking, and I'm like, nope, I just got myself a Voodoo 2 card. It made such a difference to how well I played, and
Nice.
I've never gone back. I've never gone back. My frame rates have climbed and climbed and climbed. I know when it was. It was LCD monitors. They locked everything at 60 hertz, and people began to think that was some new holy mark or something. People don't seem to realize that many gamers didn't even want to go to LCD monitors for years, partly because of the latency on how fast things updated, but also because of the low refresh rate. 60 hertz for many gamers was like, well, that's way too low. I'm not downgrading my gaming to go for that. For some reason now, 30 frames a second is we need to change subject because I will be here all night.
Yeah.
Frame rate is
Let's
my
jump on
bugbear.
to the next one.
Frame rate is my.
Yep.
That's my.
Who
That's
would
my.
like to go next?
I would
On
like to go
what?
next.
What is this?
News
Favorite
topic.
news.
News topic.
Oh, okay. I don't even know where we are.
I'll go.
Oh.
I'll go.
Go, Matty. Go.
I was excited to learn this week about the Star Wars Battlefront beta, but then I saw Noah's tweet, and he made such a good fucking point.
What did I say again?
Because
I was so
they were
against
like,
it, if I remember
they were like,
correctly.
you asked and we heard Battlefront beta coming early October, and I was like, shut the fuck up! Like this was a plan, EA. Shut the fuck up! Like don't act like you had us in mind.
It's so true though. They did not. They've never done anything community like pushed. It's
Yeah.
always been planned. It's always been this is how
what
it's gonna
dice game
work.
hasn't? I can't think of the last dice game that didn't have a beta. I'm sure recently, with my luck, because anytime I say something like that,
Jinxed it now.
I have to. It. Am I right? Gopher?
What?
Would you know of the last dice game with a beta, or without a beta rather?
No, because I'm not really that acquainted with dice games.
Ah, okay. Damn.
Sorry.
See, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
You're not
Love
getting
it.
Battlefront like Lone. Just you're off the cast now.
I'm off the cast. It's one of those things where I've looked and thought that looks vaguely fun, but I haven't
See?
played.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Why is
Gopher.
everyone teaming up on me this episode?
I agree with
I
you.
wouldn't want
And
to say anything. I'm keeping
here's-
quiet because I didn't want to ruin your, tirade
Here's-
there. But
Your
Here's
special
why.
moment.
because it doesn't look bad by any means, but there's just something about it that I can't help just feels shallow. And it'll be really fun for like 2 weeks. And then like bleh.
yeah,
And then I'll start seeing here's $15 for 4 maps. Here's this, that, and the next thing, and I'll start seeing that, and then I'm just gonna get upset. That's getting physically
is there even a single player aspect to that game?
No. It is all multiplayer, so that is a cool thing because I don't need a single player.
Well, but
know.
you say that, but then do
Whoa.
you really need a Star Wars themed multi? Because that's
Now
the
here's
thing
the
for me.
issue. It's
I look at-
$60 for only
Yes.
player.
For me,
Yes.
that's not an issue. But for me, it's more a matter of I love some Star Wars games. Knights of the Old Republic, big fan. I loved Jedi Academy and what was it? Dark. What was the one where you played the student
Dark
of?
Forces or whatever. I know what you're talking about.
You should know this, Matty. You're a big fan.
You were a
literally
student
almost
of
had,
someone
like,
from the dark side. You were actually a student of Darth Vader, I think, and you kind of go away from the dark side, kind of thing.
I don't think Darth Vader ever had a student, though. If I'm trying to remember.
No, it's one of the games. One of the games.
I know. I'm just trying to think just from the actual like lore.
What was it called? Whatever it was. Anyway, I think it was. You played a dark side Jedi student who kind of then goes against the dark side. I can't remember that one, but I played it and really enjoyed it. I love those sort of games, but it's more the whole being a superpowered Jedi and killing thousands and thousands of non-superpowered Jedis, and then occasionally fighting some other superpowered Jedi, and the story. Oh, and the music. The idea of playing that against other people not. No. What, as a stormtrooper? Unless I can play a superpowered Jedi that kills absolutely everybody else on the server, but my guess is they'd all have something to say about that.
I mean, my personal bias just comes from the fact that literally 2nd grade through 4th grade, I grew up with Battlefront 1 and 2 completely. That's all I fucking played.
No, and I play a shit ton of it too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't expect the game to be good, the new Battlefront to be good. That's not it at all.
I don't even think it'll be amazing. That's the thing. Like, I think it'll just be fun.
From what I've seen, it's cool. By every mean, it's cool. It's just that it's like, it's almost, and this may sound bad, but it's almost too much of what the old versions were like, if that makes any sense. It doesn't seem fresh, but at the same token, it looks great. I'm afraid. Okay. Let me gather my thoughts here. It looks too pretty for what it is. Again, this relates back to me saying it is, unfortunately, I think, going to be a shallow game.
It reminds me, like, it's going to be a lot like Titanfall, in my opinion. I feel it's going to be a fun game, but there's going to be little content.
A week later, you're going to be like, okay.
But that's what I see when I see games like that. I see something like Titanfall with a Star Wars skin on it, and
Destiny.
I've not played that. I'm afraid. So.
That's a good thing. Gopher. Never play that game.
I've heard mixed views on it.
Yeah. We could have another whole discussion on that. I thought Destiny was so overhyped, and it ended up being such a bland game.
You know what's funny? Hold on, everyone, just listen to my time hop for a second.
Here we go.
No, it's
Wait,
absolutely.
how long ago is it?
Last year. It's fucking hilarious. Okay. 8:11 p.m. last year. Imagine Destiny is a total bust and a completely linear fail like the beta. Laugh my fucking ass off. How on the money was I?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, here we go.
I saw that. I was like, wow. I didn't even remember saying that. That's great. I can't.
Did you think it was going to be a fail, or were you just throwing it out as a joke?
I guess like it was a mix because I didn't like the beta at all for Destiny. I was like, this is not what I signed up for when I saw like the gameplay previews and stuff. Like I just didn't get that taste, and I guess it was also like a joke because everyone was so, and still to this day, so on board with Destiny and thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. So
no, not really. People have definitely popped off,
there's a giant fandom in my opinion.
There is a fan base, but there's a lot of people. There's just as many people who say it's a shallow game.
No, absolutely, but
I think the fan base. This is a huge estimate or a guess, but I think the demographic, they're a lot younger. They like that RNG aspect, your typical Call of Duty. Most of the fan base is younger, but older fans, I think, well, for myself anyway, I appreciate a bit more of a story-driven, something, with a bit more substance to it. That just repetitive, running and gutting, doing missions, leveling up, it doesn't work for me. Borderlands, yes, has that aspect, but also
good quests.
Good quests. The story, there is some sort of a
fun
story.
Oh wait, hold on, wait. We forgot the most
The
important
story,
one. Worthwhile
story in
rewards.
Borderlands is bloody awesome, and
Yes.
the NPCs were bloody awesome. The dialogue was brilliant. I think.
Oh, the dialogue is
Absolutely.
phenomenal. And
It's
that's the thing.
also-
Like Borderlands 1 was definitely it wasn't as good as Borderlands 2 in terms of story, because that cliffhanger, if you remember it was such a fucking letdown. It really was.
Yeah.
But Borderlands 2, it still has that RNG, running and gunning, leveling up your character, collecting millions of guns and whatever. But it does have that further layer of substance, whereas Destiny, I don't think, has that. It doesn't have that overarching story that compels you to do these quests. It's just very dry, in my opinion.
Well, it's also, you look at Borderlands, and this is such a big difference between the two, is that in Borderlands, when you do a tough quest, you get the proper reward. In Destiny, since it's that RNG shit, you can do the best on your team, be the one who carries your squad through this mission, and you will get the worst gun. And your friend who was doing absolutely nothing in a corner will get a rare exotic weapon, whatever they call it in that game.
And isn't Destiny kind of like Warframe? You just do the same missions over and over and over again until you get loot.
Yes.
Because like Borderlands, you didn't do that. You did
an MMO
quests.
with great gunplay. That's what I call it.
Oh, like, the gunplay is great. Don't get me wrong. It's a solid game in terms of from just a gunplay
Bungie, though. I wasn't surprised by that.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised with that, but I was hoping that because it was Bungie, we'd be getting similar lore and story and interesting aspects like that from Halo. I thought we were going to get that, and we just didn't. It was such a letdown.
I'm confident, though, and this is just me being me, I'm confident that when they inevitably do the sequel, they'll do it right, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel they learned, and I feel like they're... Because they did a complete 180 in the final year. That's like, the leaks were out, like, they changed whatever they were making in the final year and made something completely different. And they're lucky that there was so much hype behind their game where people who were so excited for it and ended up sucking made sure they liked it anyways because of their excitement for it.
Right. They had too much emotional investment. Yeah. So, but do you think it's possible? I mean, from what I'm hearing with Destiny is it's generic missions. I mean, the thing that distinguishes it with Borderlands is every single mission you did in Borderlands, with the odd raid boss once you finish the game, was a unique quest. I mean, they might have been similar, but they all had a quest. Some of them were basic. Some of them didn't have much going for them. Some of them had great lines of dialogue, or some of them only had 3 or 4 lines of dialogue. But those lines were
you like interacting with something you got a quest for. But it was like 2 steps away. It was ridiculous. Like, I love those types of quests too. They're so fun.
You know, I mean, the ones I always think about are things like the quest that gives you the shotgun that fires the exploding swords in Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. Things like that.
Yeah.
You know, fun little quests where you've got some brilliant dialogue.
It's almost a break from the seriousness of it.
Right.
You know, some of it.
You know, you get this great dialogue from people like Mr. Talk and Tiny Tina, who were just awesome characters. Mr. Talk was brilliant. And then you get a reward at the end of it. Now, it was random. That one was random, and you had a chance of not getting the really good version of the thing, but you still got a version of it that was pretty damned awesome. It was, there was some predictability to it, and I can they do that with Destiny? From what I've heard, wouldn't they have to literally change the entire way it's done so that it had actual quests instead of randomly generated ones, and then you would get to the end? Because Destiny doesn't have an end, does it? Doesn't it just keep?
No, its ending is a fucking embarrassment. It's so.
Yeah. Oh, does it have an end? Does it have an end? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's
so it has like that main
bad.
Story, but then obviously as it's an MMO, you can play the game after and just do those fetch quests that they keep adding in, and I don't know what they're called. You attack the vault or something. There are those quests that they add in. But the glass door or something, it's interesting. But in terms of Destiny, what they can definitely improve upon is, I understand that, your character, if they're silent, that's fine. They could add more interesting characters. And again, Borderlands is a great example of that. The characters in that game were so fascinating. Tiny Tina, favorite character of all time, because she was just so crazy. This little girl was, and the dialogue was awesome. I love that aspect, to the stage where I wanted her in every DLC. But that's the thing. Destiny can improve upon that just by adding interesting characters and interesting story. Yes, have those fetch quests in there for those that like the RNG aspect, but at least add that further layer of depth for those that are actually looking at it. Like, probably older gamers that want more of a story or narrative-driven game that, fascinates you. I don't know. That's just my long-winded rant on Destiny.
Who would like to go
I
next?
passed out about 6 minutes ago. No.
Noah, you can go. Well, tell your story, Noah. Tell your news.
I don't have news. I should have spent all this time looking for some.
I really thought you would have been. Oh my god, we cut out a bit to save time, so you'd have to scramble for that.
Look, I'm saving time, man.
Think about it.
My news is It's not a news, it's a story. One time I bought a 3DS and 3 games for it on Amazon, and it cost $250, and then about 3 minutes later, I canceled the order.
So what'd you do?
Yeah.
Why?
I just did. At the time, I was like, I can't afford this. So, yep.
I remember when I first bought my Nintendo
The fact that this is actually
DS.
going off into something else is...
No, it is.
I'm gonna sit back.
When I bought my Nintendo DS, I think it was called, I remember selling all of my old Game Boy games, everything. I did not pay a cent for that thing because I sold so many things. And that's like going to it's EB Games here, but GameStop in the US, where they charge like $1 for like an entire console. So I was impressed that I didn't pay anything for that. But you really should get it, Noah. Like, it's a solid system.
No, that's why I added.
Actually, you know what? What am I saying? No, buy a Vita. Shut
Oh.
up.
No, don't buy a
Shut
Vita.
up about
Don't listen
Shut
to
up about
Matty.
the 3DS.
I'm not gonna buy a Vita regardless.
Fuck you.
I saw this news article
what's a
other
Vita?
day. Top 10 reasons to buy.
It's,
a Vita.
Oh!
It's a paperweight.
Alright.
Wait,
No,
doesn't
we're
even
not
know what
gonna
it is.
explain what a PS. It's basically a PSP. Do you remember what the PSP?
Don't simplify
Nope.
it like that.
I don't know what
Okay.
He
PSP
doesn't even
is.
know. I love it.
It's a handheld that's not that amazing. Let's put it that way.
No, okay. Alright.
It's amazing if you live
Have
in
you at
Japan.
least-
Otherwise, it's
Have
not.
you at least heard of the PSP, the PlayStation Portable?
No, maybe, but I'm not a console handheld. I'm a PC gamer, and I've been a PC gamer for as long as most of you guys have been alive, I believe. Actually, thinking about it now, mid '80s.
Hey, I'm only 11. Stop.
Wow, I wasn't even born then. That's
I
crazy.
mean, I've been PC gaming since the 286 days. Now, I did have some brief love affair with the Amiga and the Atari ST, which were not consoles; they were computers. And I believe the original. Oh God, it wasn't a PlayStation. What came before the PlayStation? There was a console.
Oh,
Nintendo,
the Dreamcast?
Nope.
That was right before the PlayStation.
Well,
I think it was an
what's it called?
Atari.
It was the same
No.
era. NES?
Or Sega.
No,
Sega.
NES was like
Sega
11,
Saturn.
20 years.
Sega Saturn,
Yes.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I had a player one of those for a little while, but that was it. And apart from that, I'm PC gamer. So
Interesting.
PSP, that's a scripting language. No,
It's
that's
really
PHP.
bad.
That's
No,
PHP. Excuse
What
me.
are you guys
Just
talking
remember
about?
the
PCP?
I was like, what? No.
All right, I'll give this to Matty. Matty, one of the greater games I've played, it was on the PSP. It was Final Fantasy Crisis Core.
Oh,
that
I
was a
know,
good
that
game.
game was... Oh, yeah. You're telling
That was
me.
a fantastic
yeah.
game. Other than that, though, I haven't had great experiences with the PSP.
What?
That's why I didn't get the Vita.
Dexter, what else is there on the PSP? I mean,
So you have to think about it. So
because I have more fond memories on my Vita. My PSP, I played because that system was so popular, you played every new game instead of getting it on your PS2 or wherever, you play it on your PSP.
I remember Need for Speed on there. That was fun. But
Like I said, I played everything on my PSP, so it's not like a specific game, exclusive wise. I couldn't even name a list of exclusives for PSP that they talk about today, like
they had
Patapon and shit.
they had Borderlands on the PS Vita or PSP, which
had it on
was
the Vita.
apparently wasn't that good. Yeah.
Nah, I'll admit that Borderlands on the Vita was a fucking joke. I own it. I have my biggest stack of games in my room is my Vita collection.
How do you play
That's
Borderlands without a mouse? I don't.
Yeah.
I was curious. I was literally curious how you could play Borderlands on a system the size of my fist, and it's not good.
They dumbed it down a lot. I
Matt, most games played on a system the size of your fist aren't good.
False. I have a stack right here that'll
Okay. You and Greg Miller. You and Greg
Freedom
Miller.
Wars, Yeast Memories of
You and
Celceta,
Greg Miller.
Tales of Hearts R. I'm done. It's me dropping all my
Okay.
cases on my desk.
Okay.
I
I'm
love
sure
it. I
they're
love it.
fans.
And then
Anyways,
the 20 digital games I have downloaded, I win. You can't beat me in this argument. There's never an
Gopher,
end
would
of
you
it.
like to talk about your news bit?
I also don't have any news because the only thing I've noticed in the news this week was the Deus Ex thing, which
Deus
I
Ex,
believe we've pretty much hammered to
No,
death.
let's go in another hour about it.
No, let's not.
And I
I'll get more
did
upset.
derail one of your news sections with an FPS row. Let's just say I've taken way more than my fair share of time.
Alrighty.
All right, then. We'll go on to the fan questions. We got 4. The first one is a really, really interesting thing that I'm surprised that throughout all our banter, this entire podcast, we didn't cover, but actually we kind of did, but regardless. This one comes from Lil Ali Nukes. They ask, when Fallout 4 is released and everyone and their moms are buying this game, most likely at least, say more of the younger and newer gamers start to play, like those kids who don't turn off their mics and yell for a juice box. What are your thoughts on this, or does it not really matter to you guys, since it's not like COD where you have to hear them? Now, we all have to hear them, in a sense, through the comments. I guess what he's asking is, what do we think about Fallout becoming a sense of, I said it today, like almost like mainstream, but not mainstream where like everyone's playing it. Like when GTA comes out, everyone plays it, but like Fallout's really accessible now, and not in a bad way, in my opinion. But do we have any extended thoughts on this? Is it a bad thing?
It is. They're right. It's kind of like The Witcher 3. Witcher 3 was marketed and picked up by the mass audience, whereas the previous games were not. And you did see a change in the comments on. I noticed it on my videos. Massive change, massive difference in the comments I got from Witcher 1 and 2 fans from Witcher 3. And I'm expecting, you get it in the initial release anyway. The initial comments you'll find on the Skyrim releases, the Skyrim mods and all those sort of things differ very much from the people who were commenting 6 months later, who I consider to be the hardcore fans. And you will notice it. I guarantee you guys are going to be releasing Fallout 4 videos, and you are going to be getting people going, why are you playing this? The graphics suck. It sucks ass. This is like a game that was made in the 17th century, dude. What are you doing? Are you still playing this? It was out so last week. You're going to get it, and you're going to think,
I literally just had it, yeah.
Where the hell are these people coming from? And then 6 months down the line, they'll be gone. They'll be,
I just saw a comment. I made a video about how the graphics in Fallout 4 aren't bad, and someone commented, yes, they are bad. They're comparable to PS2 games. I literally saw that comparison. Thinking, who are you?
Not get triggered.
Who are you, and why are you even thinking of playing a Fallout 4 game? A Fallout game? Because, I hate to do the whole, no true Fallout fan cares about graphics, because you know my opinion on that. Absolutely. But let's face it, they've never aimed Fallout at people who are looking for the next-gen graphical experience. It's
good graphics has never made a good game. Rise, Son of Rome, The Order, both games are beautiful. Have we sat here and been like, wow, those were fantastic fucking games.
Fallout 3 was Oblivion with guns, and it looked as bad as Oblivion, maybe even worse. It looked as bad as Oblivion. I was expecting Fallout 4 to be Skyrim with guns, and I was hoping maybe they'd fix the awful shadows from Skyrim, but I was honestly expecting just pretty much Skyrim guns, and I was okay with that. But then I'd be okay if they released like a game that was Fallout New Vegas, just new content. I'm not bothered by the graphics and the engine. To me, what I saw was way better than I was expecting. Same. It looks to me like they took the Skyrim engine and they've massively improved the shadows. They made the view distance looked better. Colors were quite vibrant.
Facial models are improved.
Lighting, they had volumetric lighting. It looked like they had a really good EMB. It looked like a very, very highly modded Skyrim. And this is the base game. So I'm thinking, that looks awesome. I looked at the game and thought, it looks like I don't need to tweak anything. I'll probably need some mod that makes nights darker, but from a visual point of view, well, I always do. Let's face it, games like this, generic games for the masses always have darkness that is, they're just desaturated.
I remember watching your modding series and showing the differences between the darkness in the base version of the game and then with the mod installed. And I'm thinking, holy shit, that does make a difference. And it's something that I never noticed until the mod was installed.
Because, in most of these games, they people don't want to be blind, whereas there is a certain subsection, myself included, who want to experience that kind of fear of the dark almost. But anyway, sidetracked there. But that's pretty much when I looked at the graphics, that's what I thought. I thought, wow. And it was beyond just the graphics. It was the way everything moved as well. Watching the death floor move. And so I'm thinking, this is awesome. And when you saw the ghouls running through the supermarket and the trolleys were moving out of the way, and I'm thinking, wow, I was really impressed. And then when I was reading comments from people saying, "Oh, this looks crap," my mind was blown. Although,
Same.
there are still people who accuse Witcher 3 of being awful. I mean, I know it didn't look quite as good as that E3 trailer, but people are thought,
Nothing ever does, though.
Yeah,
Like,
this looks crap. And I'm looking at the game thinking, what am I? Do I need to go and get my eyes tested some more? Because this is like, just let's face it, there's going to be people complain about that sort of stuff.
always
people like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As for the sense of these new fans coming in, we'll kind of loop back to that. Good or bad, I guess.
It's good. It's good
New
when any
fans.
community grows.
Yeah.
Like
Good because the community grows, but I think that there comes this point where they have to realize they don't know everything.
They won't.
No,
They won't realize that. They'll just go away after a while. They won't realize anything. They'll just look. We'll get an initial boost. You'll get Fallout 4 selling way more than Fallout 3 did in its initial thing.
Definitely.
They probably get good reviews. I'm guessing it's going to get good reviews. Everyone will really enjoy the vanilla game. And what will be left in 6 months' time is a core, hardcore group who probably will either be on PC or be thinking of upgrading to PC because they've seen a bunch of mods or are waiting for DLC. And the community will go back to a more normal state. I think it'll be bigger. I think the Fallout 4 community will. I think whilst it will bring in a lot of mainstream people who don't really care about Fallout that much and who will just enjoy the game and then go away,
Absolutely,
it will bring some people into the fold who will realize, whoa, this is awesome. I'm going to go back and play the original games and probably even enjoy them, even though they're not graphically as superior. So our community will grow. It'll be more of the same sort of people after an initial period of face palming constantly.
Yeah, basically.
See,
It's sad because they group up. They group up and they're like, yes, we are all right. It's like, well, I mean, like, be a fan. Everyone's entitled to their fanship, but there comes this point.
Yeah, but like
Know your
Gopher said,
boundaries.
that core audience will grow. Like I've made the guess that Fallout 4 is going to sell better than Skyrim. That's my bold prediction.
Probably.
I think it will.
It's
like,
more hyped, so why not?
Yeah.
I made a video on it looking at just like current trends. Like for example, Skyrim sold better than Oblivion, and in from Oblivion to Fallout 3 to Skyrim, sales have progressively increased, and that's due to just the video game industry growing exponentially, not that much, but and then Bethesda's community by implication, it's growing a lot, and even with just look at the Xbox One and PS4. Those have sold at a faster rate than previous 360 and PS3, just because the game industry is so much bigger than what it was. So just because of that, I think that Fallout 4 is going to be selling better than Skyrim, but that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. See, a better question is going to be how the modding community grows rather than the Fallout 4 community, because I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be absolutely enormous, and I think it's going to be pretty demanding. I mean, we're going to have the initial phase where people are going to be coming along going, why isn't this mod working perfectly instantly when I click this button, kind of people.
What's a load order mean?
Yeah, why do I have to learn how to do this? Fix this mod so that it does everything I want it to do now.
Yes.
Or else stop making mods, and you're going to get that. And then
totally. What is a load order?
And then,
oh my god!
It's okay to not know it.
I don't mind.
As long as you don't instantaneously demand that I fix all your problems in it at the same time. I have no idea what a load order is, but you better well bloody fix mine right now.
Why do I need a compatibility patch?
But our community is going to grow. It's going to have that initial phase where you get the people in who are just not willing to learn and want everything on a plate, and after 6 months it'll settle down and it will be a bigger community than it was before, and it will be filled with people who are pretty much like-minded and enjoy modding. That's my prediction.
The twilight period. It'll be great times.
Well, yeah, I think that's the point where modding will in 6 months after the release. That's when modding will really start to it'll mature, and we will start seeing the really good mods. We'll see mods from day one, but we're going to see, Yeah, I mean, Skyrim's still producing some. I mean, I don't even look at them anymore because I've sort of burned out a little on Skyrim. But I look back every now and again and I see some of them and I think, I could see myself going back in a year or two to Skyrim and just trying some of the mods I've missed over the last 6 months because some of them look phenomenal. And I think Fallout 4 is going to be like that. We're just going to see years and years of development, which is going to be very cool.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Our next question pertains to the H.A.M Radio Podcast crew. I apologize, Gopher, but don't worry. Next question's for you, man. But he says, I know this isn't Mr. Mesa, rather says, I know this isn't related to Gopher, but what is the future of the H.A.M Radio Podcast after Fallout 4?
That's an interesting
expanding
question.
to horizons. We're going to keep focusing on Fallout 4, obviously, and Bethesda things. But,
I'd say the podcast will shape into its true vision, which was a Bethesda podcast. It's because Fallout 4 is the headline every week because there's always something new to talk about with it. Once Fallout 4 is out, you'll have your spoiler cast. We'll have DLC. We'll have tons of shit to talk about. But it's not probably going to be headlining every podcast. It'll be probably after Fallout 4, a month or two later, will probably be Doom headlining or Dishonored.
Definitely
other games. I imagine. And sure that'll suffer at the point of viewer count, but our initial goal was let's make a podcast about what's happening at Bethesda because no one does that.
It brings a bit of variety too. I mean, if you talk about, and we do this on our channels, and I've gotten burned out a couple of times. If you talk about Fallout constantly,
I agree.
It does burn you out, like with anything in life. Mm-hmm. And we would like to be able to change our discussions up. That's why we talk about general news. That's why we talk about the games we're playing. So it's not just going to be Fallout orientated. Of course, there's always going to be that aspect, but we're going to branch out and keep it Bethesda related. But if we want to talk about different games, then we'll do that.
And I think that's really important to also reach other people who may not be necessarily a 100% Bethesda fan, not necessarily not liking it, but also still liking our personalities and wanting to join in and see the guests that we have, and also still having to something to listen to.
Yeah.
I
agree with you, Alone, about the burnout part. That's why this week, I'm not burnt out on Fallout 4, but it's just I've had this itch lately to be I want to do something a little different. I want to talk about Mad Max. I want to talk about Metal Gear. I'm not going to make a Metal Gear video because Konami will fucking destroy my channel.
Don't do that. Do not do that.
Just stream it. If you're going to play it, just stream it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, I'm going to make a Mad Max review. I'm going to talk about some future content plans. I want to talk about Battlefront a little bit this week. So, I understand what you're talking about. And, it's those few videos make all the difference. It's okay, got away from my roots a little bit, talked about what I wanted to talk about, time to go do my thing again. And it's a refresher.
It's having a guilty pleasure. I mean, look at this podcast. We've talked about so many different games. And it shows that we're not just one-dimensional Fallout or Bethesda. We like other things. So that's where you'll see the podcast go. Mm-hmm. That was a good question.
Yeah. Anyways, Gopher, your turn. Fallout Temple asks, you post tutorials on how to mod games. I'd like to know how you got started with mods and if someone had taught you.
How did I get started on mods and did someone teach me? No, nobody taught me. And you will probably find the vast majority of mod makers out there are self-taught. How I got into mods is probably the oldest story for mod makers. Something annoyed the living crap out of me. It really just annoyed me. And there was no decent stealth armor in Fallout 3. There was this recon armor, and I thought, oh, that sounds like stealthy armor. And then it kind of sucked. And I always generally back then played stealth characters, and I just decided to add this was before the Chinese stealth armor, so it was before the DLC. I decided to add a stealth boy effect to the recon armor, but I didn't want it to be permanent. I didn't want it to be on all the time, so I tweaked it, made it so that you had to stand still, not have your weapons out, so it was kind of useful, but not overpowered. And I just made it and I released it, and then I almost forgot about it. For a year or so, I think it was about a year or maybe a little less. And then I came back and played Fallout 3 again, and then decided I wanted some headgear, but I didn't know what to put on the headgear. And then I came across the idea of night vision, so then added night vision, and then realized, but there's no optical part on the recon arm. I need to add some optics, so then I had to try and make a model, and I got permission from another mod author to use one of his models and attach it to something else, and that's how it gets started. You just, something pops into your mind, and then you figure it out. I knew nothing about modeling. I had to basically download the tools and poke it and hit it with a hammer until it worked. And it probably shows when you look at the models I've got. Because, I mean, you do get some people who are superb modelers, but I knew nothing about it.
I'm a model.
And then, yes, I've got that song in my head now.
Retardation.
No, so right said Fred wasn't it? So I then moved on to making heads-up display things because of the night vision. I wanted some indicator on the screen of how much power you had on the night vision, and that's how it works. It kind of barrels onwards, and each step, I just needed to learn something completely new. And you just sort of, you hunt around, you go into the code, you start typing stuff, and then you load up the game and see what happens, and eventually you get it right. There are some tutorials now, but not many actually.
Do you have any tips for anyone that wants to get into mod making but just doesn't know where to start, because it might be a bit intimidating in that sense?
Ask yourself why you want to get into mod making. If you want to get into mod making because you want to have a popular mod and have everyone download it, don't. It's a huge amount of time. It's a ridiculously amazing amount of time you will spend. I calculated how much time I spent on the Advanced Recon series, and it was in the thousands of hours over the years.
Holy shit.
I mean, Immersive HUD for Skyrim, well over 100 hours. That's actually a low estimate. Because the thing is you get the initial prototype up and running in 20% of the time. The next 80% of the time is getting it polished, working, tweaked, bug fixed, neatened, and everything else. I mean, the Advanced Recon armor and the gear, like the night vision, went through so many iterations, and I added so much new functionality, and it absorbs your time.
And people were asking if that series is going to come back for Fallout 4.
Yeah.
20 questions with Gopher.
It's a series that I probably would like to bring back, but at the same time, it's the time constraint now. It is. Yeah. I've got 3 kids. Well, I've actually got 4 kids, but I've got 3 kids who are young, living with me, and so I get less time in the evenings. Obviously, I'm making the videos as well now, and as I just said to you, it takes way more time than you think. I mean, you guys know from experience, making these videos takes a lot more time than you probably ever imagined.
Yeah, until you do it yourself, you don't know.
You have no idea.
I underestimated how much work it would be, and I'm struggling. I will say that because I have a full-time job, so I'm struggling.
And I mean, I wanted to add some more features to my Witcher mod, and I've never quite found the time to do it. Someone else has already done a better job, and I'm thankful for it. And so I'm wondering if someone's going to do something similar with the Advanced Recon armor. They'll add the kind of functionality I was adding, the thermal night vision, that type of thing, and I won't need to do it. It's the thing. And in fact, I could honestly imagine handing over the title to someone if I trusted them to do a decent job and keep the name going, because the amount of time it needs to make that series useful, I don't think I could probably put in. It's but the thing is there's plenty of stuff I can probably carry over from the other mods. I mean, it's probably going to be easier for me to take across Skyrim mods. So Predator Vision, I might end up doing the Advanced Recon night vision functionality, the night vision, the thermal night vision, that type of thing, because I think I can do that in a reasonable amount of time, and then put it out as almost like a resource, so other modders who make helmets can then just add night vision to their helmets or thermal vision to their helmets, because it's dead easy to do. It's actually dead easy to do, and I could do a video on how they can add it. They can just use that, and then you get the functionality, but on the helmet. Same with Immersive HUD. It's all going to depend when Fallout 4 Script Extender comes out, and to what degree we get UI mods, because at the moment I'm not expecting us to get an MCM, which I think is a big shame. That's the mod configuration menu that comes with Sky UI.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I may have to do some tweaking, but I think there are some mods I will bring out because a lot of it is the work is actually done, assuming the engines are similar, and I'll be able to reuse a lot of the code and the concepts. But things like the models from the Advanced Recon, oh God, no, that's probably a way too much work to. I mean, I'm not a 3D modeler. No, I wasn't good at it at all, and it took me so long to get those models done. So bloody long, because I pretty much learned as I went along.
Just ask Millennia next time. He'll create the model for you.
yeah. So, but that's the thing. I think it's at a certain point I started doing more collaborations. So things like, I mean, Immersive Hood came out of the collaboration I did with MGE on Cinematech and Dynavision, and I've started doing way more of that type of thing, the collaboration things. So for me to do the vision side of the Advanced Recon, the thermal night vision, the trap detection, all those things, and then have someone else do the models may actually be a way to go forward for me, modding. I'm quite happy doing that. I don't have any problems with someone else doing the bulk of the work, basically. So yeah.
Awesome.
Our final question is an interesting one that we can all get on in here. This comes from Swaggy Booty 2. Great name, man.
Nice name. Great name.
He was actually in my Twitch chat, and he was just like, "Yeah, I like to pick my name deriving from my own personal character or something like that." So, confident guy. But he asked, "What is your favorite quest from any game?"
Oh God.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought.
That is such a good question.
Fuck.
Oh my God.
Okay, I want to throw this out there. It's not my answer, but the shoot me in the face quest from Borderlands, that was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah.
And we've already mentioned the quest for.
You can pick whatever you want. It's yours. So
we've already mentioned the quest from Assault on Dragon Keep for where it gives you the exploding, the shotgun that fires exploding swords, because that's brilliant.
Even Fallout 3, the Dunwich building, that was interesting.
I think the quest that I always like remember, or when I talk about quests, always kind of floats in my head, is it's got to be the like 10 penny tower quest from Fallout 3 where you have the option to blow up Megaton. It's just always comes into my head when someone mentions quest. So I kind of have to go with that.
That's a good choice.
That's the problem, isn't it? There's too many options, because again, there's a load of the Borderlands ones. I loved the quest where you have to pick up all the. I think it was in the second DLC. You have to pick up all these interviews between Tiny Tina and between I think it was Moxie and Mr. Talk, and then Tiny Tina crashes into them. I loved that quest purely because it was hilariously funny. But I don't know. I mean, do we include main quests? Because
you can be. Let's just do one you like that you can think of right now that was really
kind
cool
of quest.
to you. Yeah.
Probably one of the greatest quests I ever did in any game will be the main quest for Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, come on, man.
Daddy is just a fanboying right now.
The moment, and I don't want to do any spoilers, but the moment, you know what I'm talking about, the big reveal that if you hadn't guessed it, and that big reveal, when you just suddenly realize what is going on. I'm not even going to say more than that because people might even be able to guess, but that moment when you suddenly realize what is going on in the entire game, what has gone on, and you just suddenly think, oh my God. And I was like,
never forget that moment.
Wow, that quest was that. I mean, but that's a quest that kind of spans an entire game. They kind of sound like they're asking what small quest, don't they? I don't know. God, this is such a good question.
I got another good answer. Spec Ops: The Line. There was a quest. It was part of the main story, but if you did it a different way, and I want to talk about it, but I don't know if any of you played the game, but you end up taking this particular route. The game presents it to you as this is what you need to do to progress, and then it fucks with your head in terms of the end result. I don't know if any of you have played Spec Ops the Line. I know Matty has. Gopher, have you played that game? Oh, you need to play that. It's one of those games that it presents you options as you think this is the right thing to do, and then it fucks with you. Like emotionally, physically, it messes with your head. That is a phenomenal game. I was very, very surprised with that game, how good it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. You get a lot of those type of quests in like the Witcher series, actually.
That's
quests.
what I was gonna pick. I wanted to highlight the. How do I word this without spoiling it? I mean, okay, the quest in Skellige. Where you have to
I can't listen. I can't listen.
No,
no, I can't listen. No, this
you can't
is
listen,
spoilers for Witcher 3.
Don't risk
it, Matt. Yeah,
this is blind. I'm doing a blind let's
Absolutely.
play.
All right, I will hold back then. I will hold back and pick a new
Sorry,
one.
man.
No,
Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Then you have a great fucking quest ahead of you.
Yeah. Oh, I've honestly, I've no doubt of that. I mean, I've got to tell you, the main quest in Witcher 1 was pretty incredible, purely because, I mean, it was badly told, but, you know, was pretty good. But it seems like CD Projekt Red for Witcher 3 have really figured out how to do quests so that they all kind of, you know, not only do they all feel personal, but they all seem to have some sort of an effect, apparently. Yeah. I'm not that far in, so I haven't seen that effect yet, but I have felt the personal touch on these quests.
There was another one, Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1, if you've played the main quest, there is a moment which fucks with you. I wish I could talk about it because it's spoilerific, but as part of the main quest, I think people that have played it will know what I'm talking about. That was a great story. For a Call of Duty game, that was a great story.
I thought Black Ops 2 was great, dude.
Yeah, no, both great. I reckon Black Ops has really good stories.
I really think
I'm trying to think if I played those, actually. I have played some of the I played the original Call of Duty, and I think I played as far as... in Call of Duty, one of them you played Special Forces, but you kept switching between... like you played...
that was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4?
4, I think it was. It was 4. Yeah. So I've played as far as that. That's what I played. But I've stopped. I don't have time to play all.
I'm just gonna scan my Steam library real quick.
That's a good idea.
I just thought of one. All right, can I spoil a little something for Knights of the Old Republic 2?
Go ahead. I'm never gonna play that game.
Fucking do it.
All right. So what's cool about Knights of the Old Republic 2 is that every player every character in your party, you can influence to become a Jedi, whether it's good or bad, and it's totally optional. And as a diehard Knights of the Old Republic fan, I can tell you it's entirely something you can miss because I just learned about it. And so I'm walking around with Atten, who I think is just this scumbag gambler my whole time through Knights of the Old Republic. I think he's just this typical guy who's, I'm playing as a female in this playthrough, so, he's hitting on me and stuff and whatever. And, I'm just thinking, whatever, this guy's just your typical dude bro, whatever. Turns out that after, upping my influence through questing in the game, I guess you could consider it as a dialogue, but since the end result of this said quest by investing your time in Atten, so he becomes a Jedi, I'm going to call it a quest, is that, you find out he was an assassin for the Sith, and he used to kill Jedi, and then he fell in love with this one Jedi out of nowhere, and he was going to kill her, but he couldn't bring himself to do it, and so he runs from his past all the time. And then you can bring it out of him and turn him either into a Sith Jedi who is just fucked up. When you do that, his eyes turn like a palish color. He gets veins in his face. He's so messed up looking. Or you can keep him as he normally looks by making him on the light side, convincing him that everything's okay, you're forgiven, the person doesn't hold it against you. And it's just one of the best character development quests I've ever been a part of, because you can totally miss it. You can totally assume this character has no importance in the game. And for so long I thought that. And it turns out he's not only one of the most vital party members, but he's one of the deepest. And I thought that was absolute brilliance to make something as crucial and that took so much time for Obsidian optional. I think that was amazing.
Yeah. I might play that game one day, Matty. I might.
Might? I talk about it every week. Like, I
What,
think...
Knights of the Old Republic and number 1 and 2?
Yeah, I've never.
You've not played them?
No.
Oh man, I just.
Why is everyone so disappointed in me?
No.
I said the other week that I hadn't
I'm not
played Mass
disappointed.
Effect.
No. I'm almost envious of you for not having
Because I
played
hadn't
it.
played it. Yeah.
Because you can play it. Mind you, the thing is the interface is probably really. I do remember it being a little clumsy. Knight of the Old Republic number 1.
Yeah.
They're doing a HD re-release of number 2, aren't they?
Yeah,
Why
they
not
already
number
did
1?
Free patch. I think it's legal things because it's tied to BioWare and Microsoft because it was an Xbox exclusive. But then I thought
Knights of the Old Republic wasn't an Xbox exclusive because I've played it.
No, I'm saying though, like originally, I think it was an Xbox, like the original Xbox. I think it was only for that. I could be entirely wrong because that's what I originally played it on. What I read.
Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 were PC games because I played them both
on launch though. Were they?
I don't know if I played them on launch, but
Okay.
I played them a long time ago. So
I play them every year. I play both every year. It's an annual tradition during my summer to play both.
Oh, yeah. Knights of the Old Republic. You should play just for if you're a Star Wars fan as well. To me, it's one of the games that had some of the most Star Warsy feeling to it, especially a kind of dark side feeling. The music, just everything about it. It gives me goosebumps thinking about my time playing that game. It was, and then of course there's the robot. I can't remember his name. The one that calls you meatbag all the time.
HK-47. Yeah,
that's the one. There's him.
He's
Superb.
so great.
Basically a psychopath robot.
Yeah, but that's the thing. In KOTOR 2, you can fucking make him good. You can get a control cluster, put it in him, and he's nice to you. Like, that's amazing.
No, but that's just wrong.
No?
That's just wrong.
I think that's amazing because he's
Don't do that. Don't be doing that. No. And yet, with Knights of the Old Republic, you have to do at least 2 playthroughs. 1 good, 1 bad.
Absolutely.
You have to do it. You'll be tempted to do the good playthrough first time through. And actually, I think it really works. I think the good playthrough works brilliantly with the story and with the big reveal. But the dark side one works too, and it's well worth exploring both sides. And I played it several times because I wanted to play the kind of warrior Jedi, and my favorite was definitely what they called them? The mages, the one that's like pure Jedi power.
Counselor, I believe.
Counselor, yeah. I liked to play the warrior type Jedi as good and the counselor as bad because it just
felt right.
The dark side powers are just
the death field where you like put your hand in the sky, and you just leech all the health from them. Lone, I have dreamed of this. Do not laugh at me, man. Like someone who actually gets it.
If I had enough time, I would play it. Like, don't get me wrong, I would. But
there are a few games that do that to me. Mass Effect 1 and 2 did that to me as well. Those where you had that overpowering feeling. I mean, especially Mass Effect 1 when you're talking to what's the ship called? What's the Reaper ship called?
Tip of
I
my
don't
tongue.
remember.
Oh, my God.
I know what you're talking about, though.
Oh God, him. Anyway, but yeah, when you're talking to him and that voice he has, and those moments in games where your skin is almost tingling. You're the game has got such an epic moment. It's beyond anything you could experience in a movie. And Mass Effect 1 and 2 had several of those moments where you just wow moments. But Knights of the Old Republic. That's there are a few moments in gaming I remember being transfixed. One of them was Fallout 3 actually, when I left the vault.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I can relate to you there.
that kind of stepping out of the vault and then that sunlight, you get the sun blindness and it fades away. And in fact, the only thing that I think is wrong with that is the fact that the level up menu comes as soon as you walk towards the
it does,
edge.
Doesn't it?
I like
wish,
the sound of the ching though. Like it's like all right.
But I wish the level up menu was something you could bring up after because it kind of almost ruined the moment. Because I wanted to sort of come out and I didn't move at first. So I just stood there going,
just absorbing it all. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. And really, honestly, I think I would have much walked to the edge where you look down on the drop and you just look over the wasteland. And even though I did my level up and then walked to the edge of the wasteland, and still that feeling was with me for half an hour afterwards. This
I don't know
of
why. I distinctly remember looking at that sign, the scenic overlook sign.
Yeah,
Like, all right, now I'm gonna look at. It was amazing. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best entrances into a game I've ever seen, because you've done the tutorial, you've experienced life as the Vault Dweller, you've done all those little things. It's all kind of good. You think you're in the game, you're playing it. I'm going to go outside now, and then bam, and it's almost like you've only just realized what you're doing. You've just stepped out into this whole new world. You just, everything lies before you. And I was really like,
I want to play this game again now.
No. And I mean, that's one of the big disappointments I had with Fallout New Vegas. They didn't give me that feeling when I entered the game.
You just walk out into a town.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I always say this. It's ironic. They did a Bethesda special start, which is ironic because it wasn't Bethesda. But they did the whole, you have lost your memory, or you are a prisoner, or
yeah, they did, didn't they?
If they'd replaced Doc with a sheriff, and you were in jail instead of the doctor's house, it would have been the Bethesda special. It felt very much like that. Oh, you are somebody who has no identity. Who do you want to be? Here you are in the starting area. Go. And I didn't. That's the one thing I'm hoping they do. I mean, it looks like they've got this figured out, though, for Fallout 4, because it looks like you're going to have a tutorial start, and you'll go through it. But the game looks like it's going to start. And we've seen the scene where he comes up and his hands covering his eyes from
tingles
the sun flare.
Just thinking about that.
That to me, where he's exiting the vault 200 years later, that looks to me like where the game starts, and that's what I was hoping for. I said this over and over again. One thing I truly wanted them to do was make sure the protagonist was a Vault Dweller, because that's what I loved in Fallout 1. Fallout 2, I didn't like being the tribal. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It fit for a sequel. It was a good setup.
It fit, and in a way, it was almost the same thing. It was very. It's something I say quite a lot. It was a very Tolkien-esque story. Both Fallout 1, 2, and 3. You start in an enclosed community, which is like the womb, and you go through this narrow passage. 1 was a bridge in number 2, and in 1 and 3 it was the vault door, and then you exit. It's the birthing process, and it's the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings story over again. It's that process of being birthed, and that's where the game starts.
That's a really good analogy. I never thought of that.
Fallout New Vegas didn't have that, but it looks like they've gone back. Fallout 4 has got that. You're going to have this build-up. We're going to have the pre-war stuff. We're probably going to have a bit in the vault. And then there's going to be that moment where we step out into the wasteland for the first time, covering our eyes from the sun blindness, and look upon the devastation. And I'm so looking forward to that moment.
I know. It's amazing because they I don't want to say they ruined it, but they already showed us it. But it's the difference of, like, some people were saying they ruined that moment, but it's like it's so different when you were actually holding the controller, sitting there like
doing
holy
it.
shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I get it though with people. I kind of almost wish they hadn't done it, because I know that moment would have been one of those moments where I would have just been, breathe, come on, breathe.
It's the perfect way to start a big open world game, just from that higher altitude and being able to have a 360 view. That's the kind of thing that Fallout 3 I wish kind of did. You had this big fucking mountain behind you. I wanted to be able to look 360 and see everything from that one scene.
That's what they do in Fallout 4, though.
But that's what they do in Fallout 4.
On top of a little hill. Well, funny enough, the name of the place is Sanctuary Hills, but you're on that hill and you just look around and can see everything.
I cannot wait.
I know, I'm all hyped for it now. That's just the thought of that.
A little bit more in 2 months.
And as soon as I found out you were going to be a Vault Dweller, that was it. I'm sold. I was happy.
Yeah.
My wish list tick. That was it. That was the big one. I am a Vault Dweller. So
it's in a unique way, though, how you get in the vault and stuff. It's not like in Fallout 3 you were born into the vault.
Right. You start and finish in it, kind of.
Yeah.
But okay, now here's the reason I wanted to be a Vault Dweller. Yeah, and it kind of works with Fallout 4, even though it's different. Fallout was one of the first games where I could role play and yet be completely me. I could play a character from a culture that was, let's face it, Western, modern, and fairly privileged. I mean, I know that their standard of luxury in a Fallout Vault was nothing compared to what we're used to, but they had heating. They never had to worry about starving. They had plumbing. They had toilets. They had all of the modern conveniences you and I are used to. And then they go out into the wasteland. So you could play in this Mad Max world as a character who knew nothing about the Mad Max world and in fact came from a culture very similar to ours. Now in Fallout 4, he actually comes from pre-war, so it's even more so. You can play yourself almost. It makes the character so relatable. He's going to be in this wasteland with a set of 20th century, 21st century values. And you've got all the reason to do it. And that was the great thing in Fallout 1 and Fallout 3. I mean, both of my playthroughs, in fact, all of my playthroughs, I've always played a sort of a good playthrough the first time through. And it was so easy in Fallout 1 and 3 because you just played someone who had that kind of naive, in a way, for the environment, very good. I know what you would call it. Modern outlook on life. We help each other. We try to look after each other. Whereas everyone in the wasteland was a sort of bitter, twisted, hardened person. And you came out and you were this beacon of light, and I kind of like that. And Fallout 4. We can do that. I am babbling now. You should tell me.
That's so good. Yeah, everyone's just listening intently.
I'm just absorbing it because it's like I can't anything that stoked me more for this game. I can't fucking wait, dude.
Yes. Well, we are running on 3.5 hours, so we need to wrap up a little bit. Yeah.
I'm getting up in 4.5 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Gopher, you are a trooper. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Hugs and kisses.
Yeah.
Hugs and kisses.
Yeah. If at any time you want to join us back on the podcast again, we'd be more than happy to have you, honestly.
Anytime.
Oh my god, Gopher and Al on one cast. Oh my god, the world would explode.
Oh, the world would explode.
I'd love to chat with Al. I would.
Oh, he even knows.
All right, yeah. Okay, sweet. So we're gonna.
I know who Al is.
We're gonna.
He stole my mustache.
We got two.
Have you not heard about that? Have you not heard about that?
I heard about that. Yeah.
We both have the same taste in mustache, and it became a thing. It became a thing. When I started making videos, everyone accused me of trying to copy him, and I'm like, who? And you've stolen Al's mustache. I'm like, whose mustache? So that's how I found his channel. So
I try and get in contact with him, but for some reason he's hard to get in contact with nowadays.
He is a little hard.
All right, so we got 2 mega casts now. We got the Gopher Al collab, and then we got the Courtney, Brian, and Cal one. Holy shit!
That you need to make sure. I want to be a part of that one. I want to be a part of both of them, honestly.
Yeah. Wow, you hear this, Gopher? He doesn't want to be a part of ours, but no.
Nope. I'm just
kidding. Oh, how rude, Noah. But Gopher, to end this podcast, we usually do it this way. We allow the guests to end the podcast in any way they see fit. So, Maddie, Noah, and I are all going to stop talking, and you can end the podcast however you see fit. So, take it away.
Okay, so thanks for the warning on that one, then, guys.
By the way,
because talk about being put on the spot. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this podcast, and thank you to Matt, Noah, and Lone for. I mean, is that what I call you, Lone?
Yeah, Lone. Yep. Yeah, that's fine.
His real name is unknown.
Okay. For inviting me. It's been a lot of fun, even though it is bloody late at night or early in the morning, depending on your perspective. So thank you for having me, and thank you guys for listening. Please leave comments down below. Try to make them nice, if you possibly can. I know sometimes it's difficult. So, thank you very much.